Chapter 2118 Altars. After entering Heaven Repairing Palace, Jian Wushuang and his party arrived at a vast, dark space. This space seemed to stretch on forever. In the middle of this dark space were 12 light balls. As they walked nearer, they recognized the 12 light balls. They were 12 large, old altars. These 12 altars floated quietly in the middle of the dark space. An ancient aura radiated outwards slowly. These 12 altars represents 12 seats, and everyone here will take one seat. Take charge of your own opportunities, and you will not disturb anyone else during this period of time. If not, I will. Jian Wushuang said coldly. Yes. The 11 emperor gods nodded their heads in unison. Go on. Jian Wushuang waved his hand as the 11 emperor gods moved towards the altar. Jian Wushuang did not waste any time as he too flew to an altar. The large altar was made of a special black crystal. There were complicated secret restrictions carved on every single corner of the altar. Jian Wushuang realized that even at his power level, he could not understand these restrictions at all. Jian Wushuang sat in the middle of the altar. He took a deep breath as divine power started to radiate from his body. The moment his divine power was radiated, the purple secret restrictions glowed like bright purple snakes and came to life. As these purple restrictions started to work, a surging energy erupted out of nowhere. This energy was gray in color, and it looked as though there was nothing there. However, Jian Wushuang was shocked when this power appeared. This energy is so pure. Jian Wushuang exclaimed. He sat in the middle of the altar and could feel how amazing the energy was as it surrounded him. Jian Wushuang thought the purest energy found within the eternal chaotic world should have been the divine power. However, this gray energy was at least 10 times more pure and vast. It felt as though it was a higher form of power. A beginner cultivator would absorb the spiritual influence of heaven and earth and store it as spiritual energy to be used. Only when one reached the stage of universe God would his spiritual energy evolve into divine power. Between divine power and spiritual energy, the difference was that divine power was a higher form of power. Now the gray energy on the altar felt as though it was of a higher form than divine power. What is this energy? Jian Wushuang muttered to himself as he tried to contain the surprise he had. Even though he was unsure what exactly the gray energy was, the gray energy started gushing into his body. Rumble! Vast amounts of energy gushed into Jian Wushuang's body. His heavenly creation skill started to work by itself and started to absorb this gray energy at an insane rate. My God! I finally understood why the Heaven Repairing Palace can help some top-tier emperor god evolve into great emperors. Just by this pure energy itself, it can help many top-tier emperor gods to try and force their way into the realm of great emperors. Jian Wushuang thought to himself. A normal cultivator needed many conditions before he could evolve from an emperor god to a great emperor. For example, their understanding of Tao, the amount of divine power they had, and most importantly, the opportunity to evolve. Now, with such an incredible amount of the gray energy, even if the opportunity to evolve was not there, one could try to force their way through. Even though the chance of success was low for such a brute method, they would still have a small chance as long as they tried. This energy is so pure that I can benefit from it greatly as an inverse cultivator. The energy for me to reach stage 3 is far too much. The energy gushing out from the altar is still insufficient for me to evolve. Jian Wushuang thought to himself. The 7th step in inverse cultivation, evolving from stage 1 to stage 2, did not need too much diving power. Jian Wushuang got his opportunity and cultivated within the Supreme Emperor's Stone and managed to accumulate sufficient divine power to evolve. The divine power needed to evolve from Stage 2 to Stage 3 was far greater. Jian Wushuang knew this well, hence he did not plan to reach Stage 3 using this time within the heaven-repairing palace. He just wanted to try his best to become stronger. If I absorb this energy, I will have slightly more divine power. The increment in fighting power is insignificant. I shall instead use it on my immemorial celestial body. Jian Wushuang thought to himself, immemorial celestial body, the strongest secret skill of body refinery that the ancient god clan had. Jian Wushuang successfully cultivated the first scroll, which boosted his power by a great amount. Now that he had reached Stage 2 of Chaotic Realm, he hoped to be able to cultivate the second scroll. Calm down. There must be more opportunities within the heaven-repairing palace other than this mysterious power. Let me go and see if there are more. Jian Wushuang smiled. He closed his eyes as his soul power radiated out. His consciousness melted into the altar. To be exact, it melted into the bright purple secret restrictions on the altar. From what Jian Wushuang could perceive, the secret restrictions acted as though they had turned to live snakes. The snakes were slithering within his mind and forming a complete picture. This picture was of a sleeping exotic beast. Looking at the way the purple restrictions moved, the chest of the purple exotic rose and dropped as though it was snoring. When the picture appeared in his mind, Jian Wushuang was shocked beyond words. He stared into the purple exotic beast and tried to perceive it. Tao, endless Tao. Jian Wushuang widened his eyes. Supreme Four Doctrine, Nine Heaven God Doctrine. Everything is here, and so complete and clear. He was shocked beyond words. This was because the purple exotic beast looked as though it embodied everything that heaven and earth had to offer. Chapter 21, 19 Purple Exotic, Bias Supreme Four Doctrine, Nine Heaven God Doctrine. There was Sword Doctrine, Knife Doctrine, Spear Doctrine, and whatever other doctrines there were. Jian Wushuang could sense the Sword Doctrine. He was an expert in most clearly and strongly. He also could sense Space-Time Doctrine and the Reincarnation Doctrine. The purple exotic beast embodied everything. No matter Space-Time Doctrine or the Reincarnation Doctrine, what I will be seeing is the complete doctrine. This Jian Wushuang took a deep breath. Unbelievable. He felt that this purple exotic beast was unbelievable. Who made these 12 altars? What exactly is that exotic beast? Jian Wushuang muttered to himself as he looked at the beast. He was looking at the fundamental makeup of the beast and how the doctrine operated. That was derivation using doctrine as a foundation. He could clearly sense how a high form of power had been derived from the power of Heaven Wei. The higher form of power was paramount to everything he knew. No form of doctrine could compare to this new power. Only through derivation could this power be formed from doctrine. Is that rules of order? Jian Wushuang muttered to himself softly. He felt the high form of power. He understood how it had come about. Without a doubt, they were the rules of order. Just like Emperor Bai said, even though he sensed rules of order from the purple exotic beast, he could not perceive them. What a pity! This had nothing to do with the ability to perceive. Even though the purple exotic beast contained rules of order, there was no way that one could perceive it. They could only experience it. Even though I could not perceive it, I could still benefit greatly if I understood the process. At least I know that in the future, I will have an idea of how to perceive the rules of order. Jian Wushuang smiled contentedly. After experiencing rules of order once, Jian Wushuang had started to study the doctrine within the purple exotic beast. Reincarnation Doctrine, Space-Time Doctrine, and Sword Doctrine. This exotic beast embodied everything, and I perceived it. Jian Wushuang smiled and made a decision. He did not hope to have a big breakthrough and reach stage 3 or grasp rules of order on the altar. He decided he should use this short amount of time to improve his space-time doctrine, reincarnation doctrine, and sword doctrine. He would also use the pure energy to cultivate the second scroll of immemorial celestial body. My battle power has reached the brink of a stage 2 great emperor. As long as I improve my understanding of doctrine and successfully cultivate the second scroll of immemorial celestial body, my battle power will be that of a stage 3 great emperor. Jian Wushuang thought as he clenched his fist. He calmed down and started meditating. At the same time, the other 11 emperor gods realized how magical this altar was. Unbelievable! This energy is so much purer than divine power. What is this mysterious energy? And that purple exotic beast, how could it embody all the doctrines? Emperor God Zhu Xian sat on the altar as his eyes brightened like never before. This is the real big opportunity. This will probably be the biggest and last opportunity in my life. I can't waste this. Meditate. Spare no effort to meditate. Waste not a single second. Back in the ancient past, they have incredible means. I wonder which Almighty created this heaven-repairing palace. It's too amazing. Underworld God thought to himself, with the help of the altar, there is a high chance I will reach the realm of great emperor despite the short time I have. What is important is how strong I will be after I reach the level of great emperor. There is no hurry. I will take it slowly. Underworld God was absolutely confident. He was already very close to the realm of great emperor. All he needed was an opportunity which could be found everywhere within this heaven-repairing palace, which meant that it was almost confirmed that he would reach the realm of great emperor. Emperor God Lu Guang, Elder Qian, and every other emperor god on the altar realized the opportunity the altar provided. They were overjoyed. Before long, they were concentrating on meditating and working towards the realm of great emperor. They were different from Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang planned to use the heaven-repairing palace to raise his own fighting power and understand the doctrine. The remaining emperor gods planned to use this opportunity to reach great emperor, the opportunity that heaven-repairing palace provided them with the conditions to do so. All that was left was their own ability. Heaven-repairing palace had only opened once since its discovery. This was the second time it had opened. The amount of resources needed to open this palace was unbelievable, so even the Sanctuary Alliance found it hard to bear with. Like for today's opening, Sanctuary Alliance had used nearly 60% of the resources it had accumulated over the ages. The remaining resources would not allow them to open this palace even if they wanted to. Every time the heaven-repairing palace was opened, it would last for a month. A month's time was very short, hence the people within the palace gave it their all. In a blink of an eye, 3 days passed. Jian Wushuang, who sat on one of the altars in the darkness, opened his eyes. The purple exotic beast is beneficial for me. I meditated to all 3 of my doctrines: the space-time doctrine, the reincarnation doctrine, and the sword doctrine. I managed to have a breakthrough for my reincarnation doctrine. Jian Wushuang smiled. Chapter 21:20 Incoming Enemy. Jian Wushuang's understanding of the reincarnation doctrine reached the 8th level within the Doctrine Palace, but did not achieve any breakthrough. Even though he did not focus on the reincarnation doctrine with these conditions, he still managed to achieve a breakthrough, and his understanding reached the 9th level of the Doctrine Palace within just 3 days. Even though he was a genius, the main reason for this was because the purple exotic beast had helped him far too much. Continue. Jian Wushuang closed his eyes and continued meditating. In the blink of an eye, Jian Wushuang and the group of emperor gods had been in the palace for half a month. Within this half a month, it was very peaceful. This peace was about to be broken in ancient Mystery Land, which was a distance away from the heaven-repairing palace. There was a plot of ordinary land. Even if one used their soul power to scan, they could not sense anything. In reality, within the depths of this land, there was a hidden formation. At this point in time, the formation was running. It caused the entire land to tremble lightly. Within moments, peace returned. However, figures appeared on the formation. There were around 30 people in black cloaks. The leader was a well-built man whose skin color was bronze and was over 2 meters tall. His aura was far stronger than everyone else's. If Jian Wushuang was here, he would be able to recognize him immediately. This man had fought with Jian Wushuang before. It was the Stage 3 Great Emperor, Demon King Qinyu. 6 other men in black cloaks reached the realm of Great Emperor and had a terrifying aura. The remaining people were all emperor gods. This was probably the strongest lineup Acheron Palace had: 6 great emperors and 20 emperor gods, led by a Stage 3 Great Emperor, Demon King Qinyu. Their target was heaven-repairing palace. Back then, I set this formation in the ancient Mystery Land as a precautionary measure. Never did I think I would actually use it. Demon King Qinyu smiled devilishly. At every entrance to the ancient Mystery Land were experts from the Sanctuary Alliance standing guard. It was further reinforced with secret restrictions. It was impossible to sneak past undetected. Furthermore, if the ancient Mystery Land was still sealed, this formation would not work as well. Because of the exposure of Zisu and Vientiane Tower, I lost face in front of Kaiser Blood and Lord Fin. This time, I will do it personally, as I cannot allow for any mishaps. I will not be able to have my influence in Holocaust Sect or 3 Emperors world anymore. Demon King Qinyu roared quietly. Yes, the experts from Acheron Palace nodded their heads and answered in unison. Their vision turned cold. Move out! Demon King Qinyu waved his hands as the 30 or so experts flew towards Heaven-Repairing Palace. Heaven-Repairing Palace looked like an ordinary palace. Even though the door was wide open, no one could enter as the 12 seats had all been filled. Before the palace was opened, Sanctuary Alliance had sent over 20 Almighty over to guard it. The 2 leaders were the Abysmal Saint Master and East Royal Emperor. Abysmal Saint Master, how many do you think can break through to the level of Great Emperor? East Royal Emperor chatted casually with the Abysmal Saint Master. No idea. When we were still clueless about the palace the previous time it was opened, we didn't choose the candidates carefully, and yet Colored Gaze and Jiu Qiao made it into the realm of Great Emperor. This time, we spent so much effort choosing the candidates. The chances should be much better. There should at least be 3, even 4 if we are lucky. 3 or 4. Among the 12 who entered, Underworld God is the strongest. It is sure that he will make it into the realm of great emperors. Emperor God Tianling from Soaring Heaven King Palace is weaker only to the Underworld God. He is also very talented and has a high chance of making it through. As for the remaining, it depends on their luck. That is true. But no matter what, Jian Wushuang will not make it, Abysmal Saint Master said. Is that not obvious? East Royal Emperor smiled. Jian Wushuang was an inverse cultivator. How could he break through so easily? When they were having a casual chit-chat, in the space far away, a black cloud appeared. This cloud started becoming bigger as it approached the palace at a very fast speed. That is, the Abysmal Saint Master and the East Royal Emperor was aware of the approaching black cloud. They saw the true identity of the black cloud when used their soul power to scan it. It was a group of experts in black cloaks. These experts appeared instantaneously in front of them. terrifying aura swept towards the heaven-repairing palace. Oh no! They are from Acheron Palace. Abysmal Saint Masters and East Royal Emperor's faces turned pale. Damn it! How did the people from Acheron Palace came into the ancient mystery land? Aren't the entrances guarded by people and secret restrictions? Even if they forced their way through, there should have been a heads up for us. The Abysmal Saint Master yelled. He realized that these experts from Acheron Palace did not enter via the entrance. They must have came from other routes. Without giving them any more time to think, the experts in black cloaks approached them. Humph! The Abysmal Saint Master snorted as he turned into darkness. The darkness turned into a large, dark vortex. A monstrous black beast charged out from within the vortex. Chapter 21:21 Crumbling. Roar. The black beast made a deafening roar. At that instant, the Abysmal Saint Master erupted. He went all out. The leader of the group, the Demon King Chenyu, looked at the beast in disdain. Scram! Demon King Chen Yu yelled as he took a step forward. His fist, surrounded by a thick demonic mist, punched out. A terrifying aura swept out. Boom! A thunderous sound reverberated as the dark beast the size of a small mountain exploded under the impact of the punch. At the same time, the dark vortex the Abysmal Saint Master was in started to crumble with a bang. Whoosh! The Abysmal Saint Master retreated and barely managed to balance himself once again. He was pale, and there was blood at the corner of his mouth. The difference between Stage 2 and Stage 3 is so big. The Abysmal Saint Master looked at Demon King Chenyu in shock. He managed to break through to become a Stage 2 Emperor not long after he had left the 3 Emperor world. He was slightly stronger than the Red Dragon King. Even so, he was helpless against the Demon King Chenyu, who was in Stage 3. Mayday, mayday! Heaven-repairing Palace is under attack. Acheron Palace has a Stage 3 Great Emperor. East Royal Emperor and I are no match for him. Requesting help immediately. The Abysmal Saint Master sent out a distress message. He knew that even if he asked for reinforcements now, the experts from Sanctuary Alliance and the Special Tribes Alliance would need time to get there. During this period of time, could he and East Royal Emperor fend off the attackers? The answer was no. Humph! I will not waste time on trash like you. Demon King Chun, you looked Abysmal Saint Master in the eye as he moved towards the heaven-repairing palace. Stop! The Abysmal Saint Master yelled fiercely as the darkness shrouded him in an attempt to stop the Demon King in his tracks. Before he could get to the Demon King, he was stopped by 3 other great emperors. None of the 3 great emperors reached Stage 2, but they could hinder his movements when they worked together. On the other side, the East Royal Emperor was in the same predicament as the Abysmal Saint Master. He was surrounded by 3 great emperors. Damn it! The Abysmal Saint Master and East Royal Emperor did not look good. On the other hand, the Demon King Chun, you appeared in front of the heaven-repairing palace. Is this the heaven-repairing palace? According to legend, the palace was built at a great cost by a clan. It was a top-tier opportunity even back in the ancient past. It is a pity that such a place is now used by a group of people in the chaotic realm trying to break through. What a joke! I shall completely destroy it. Demon King Chun, you smiled coldly. He clenched his fist and punched outwards. Boom! It was a powerful punch, so powerful that everything between his fist and the palace exploded. A deafening sound was heard. The entire palace trembled and returned to normal after a while. Oh, it seems to be quite sturdy? That's right, this palace managed to survive that apocalyptic war. Of course, it should be sturdy. Demon King Chenyu was surprised. Then he understood why. Since that is the case, a flash of ruthlessness flashed across his eyes before his aura rose to the peak. He was surrounded by demonic mist before he attacked once again. This time, the demon King Qin Yu used both his hands. Boom, 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 boom. Punches with the power to kill an ordinary great emperor rained down on the palace. Under the frenzied assault, the palace started to tremble more and more. It threatened to collapse at any time. Within the heaven-repairing palace, in the dark space, Jian Wushuang sat quietly, meditating to the various doctrines and cultivating the second scroll of the immemorial celestial body. After half a month of meditation, his understanding of the space-time doctrine and reincarnation doctrine improved significantly. Both his reincarnation doctrine and space-time doctrine reached the 9th level within the Doctrine Palace, with the space-time doctrine only one step away from turning into rules of order. As for his sword doctrine, his understanding had improved greatly. If he were to cast his sword principles, such as sword principle Xian Luo, it would be much more powerful and brilliant. As for the second scroll of immemorial celestial body, this secret skill was of a very high level. If Jian Wushuang were in the outside world, he would need a long time to successfully cultivate it. Now on the altar, with the help of the pure energy, his progress was fast. He was not far from success. He estimated he would need roughly 10 more days before he successfully cultivate the second scroll. If that was the case, his fighting power would skyrocket once again. He left after half a month inside the heaven-repairing palace. Under normal circumstances, he would have made it in time. Right then, boom, a thunderous boom exploded in his eardrums. A crack in space appeared in the dark space in which the 12 altars were located. That was just the beginning. Soon after, the booms started to become more regular. A large amount of space was destroyed as the 12 altars threatened to collapse at any time. What is going on? What is happening? Looks like someone is attacking the heaven-repairing palace from outside. Abysmal Saint Master and East Royal Emperor should be guarding the palace. Who dares to create this commotion? The 12 Emperor gods were surprised as they received a message from the Abysmal Saint Master. 7 great emperors from Acheron Palace attacked. As far as he knew, Sanctuary Alliance paid utmost attention to the opening of Heaven-Repairing Palace this time. There were 2 great emperors guarding the palace personally. At the various entrances, there were secret restrictions and many almighties standing on guard. And yet the Acheron Palace managed to break through all these defenses. Chapter 21-22 Jian Wushuang's retaliation. Looks like I underestimated the capabilities of the Acheron Palace. Jian Wushuang thought solemnly. He made a decision instantly. Whoosh! Jian Wushuang left the altar. He appeared in the dark space, which was severely damaged. He scanned the emperor gods sitting at the other altars and said, "All of you continue to meditate and cherish this opportunity. Let me handle the commotion outside." He then left the 11 emperor gods behind and dashed out of the palace. There shouldn't be any problems, since the Sword Emperor decided to handle the matter personally. Let us continue. Underworld God said before he closed his eyes. The remaining 10 emperor gods composed themselves and continued meditating. Outside the heaven-repairing palace, Demon King Qin Yu was still in a frenzy, throwing punches at the palace. The palace looked like it was going to collapse at any moment. None of the experts from Sanctuary Alliance could stop him as he rained down punches ruthlessly on the palace. Right then, whoosh, a beam of light burst forth from within the palace. The moment it appeared, a terrifying sword aura swept out in all directions. Jian Wushuang had fire in his eyes. Divine power raged all around as Blood Mountain's sword turned into lightning and slashed towards Demon King Chinyu. With his current power level, even a casual slash was very powerful to the point a stage 3 great emperor like Demon King Chin, you would be threatened. Huh. Demon King Chun Yu frowned. His fist changed its target from the palace to the sword light. Clang! The collision between flesh and metal made a thunderous sound. After the collision, Demon King Chun Yu staggered while Jian Wushuang took 3 steps back. While Jian Wushuang was moving back uncontrollably. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. 7 beams of golden light glowed. Every beam of light was a sword which contained great power. They were his Hongjun golden swords. Before Jian Wushuang entered the Heaven Repairing Palace, his understanding of the space-time doctrine had limited him to being able to command only 6 of these swords. After half a month of intense cultivation, his understanding had reached the peak of the 9th level within the Doctrine Palace. Hence, he was able to command the 7th sword. The 7 Hongjun golden swords were like 7 shooting stars. They streaked across the space and appeared in front of Demon King Chun Yu together. Humph! Demon King Chun Yu grunted as demonic mist surrounded him. His right hand enlarged and encompassed all 7 swords. With a bang, the 7 swords flew backwards. Jian Wushuang's face turned dark upon seeing this. Demon King Chun Yu has grasped a little of rules of order. He is much stronger than me if he uses his power together with his secret skills. Each slash by any of my 7 swords has the power of a top-tier stage 2 great emperors. However, he simply used his fist and punched all swords away. This power, it's a pity that he has come too early. If he came 10 days later, I would have successfully celestial immemorial body. Using that power, it would be much easier to deal with him, Jian Wushuang muttered. The immemorial celestial body would not only make his diving body stronger, but also strengthen his Bodhi's self-defense mechanism. He should also experience a leap in the quantity and quality of his divine power. When he had first cultivated the first scroll of the immemorial celestial body, the quality of his divine power had increased 3-fold. Even though the second scroll would not have such a crazy leap, there would still be a leap in his power. Using that insane divine power, he could match Demon King Chinyu in power without even grasping rules of order. However, the fact was that he had not cultivated the second scroll of immemorial celestial body. Hence, his fighting power was not at that level. Even though my fighting power is lower, I can still fight him head-on using the unique properties of an inverse cultivator. Jian Wushuang thought as a glimpse of sternness flashed across his eyes. Jian Wushuang, it's you again. Killing intent spew forth when Demon King Chun Yu saw him. He hated Jian Wushuang to the core. At first, Jian Wushuang had ventured into the 3 Emperors' world and destroyed the Supreme Emperor's Stone. This had caused their plan of using the Supreme Emperor's Stone to destroy the eternal chaotic world to fail. Then, Jian Wushuang had helped to expose Ziza's true identity as a spy. Jian Wushuang had used himself as bait and deduced that there was a spy among the higher-ups within the Sanctuary Alliance. The reason why the spies among Sanctuary Alliance were found and killed were largely due to him. Lastly, the reason why the plan for the special tribes had failed was also due to Jian Wushuang. This meant that the reason why the Acheron Palace had failed over and over again was because of him. This was also the reason why he had been shamed in front of Kaiser Blood and Lord Fen. Looks like it's my lucky day. You managed to escape the other time in the 3 Emperors' world, but you won't be so lucky this time around. What a joke. You couldn't even kill me the previous time. This time, you probably can't even fight me head-on. Jian Wushuang said coldly as he attacked. Haha, you've got guts. Demon King Chinyu fought back, excited. He completely ignored the heaven-repairing palace. Compared to the emperor gods, Jian Wushuang posed a bigger threat to the three emperors' world. He was an inverse cultivator, like Emperor Bai, with terrifying growth. If this were to continue, he could become the second Emperor Bai. Killing him would mean much more than killing the emperor gods within the heaven-repairing palace. Demon King Chen Yu was confident about being able to kill Jian Wushuang. Back in the three emperors' world, the reason Jian Wushuang had survived was because Emperor Bai had arrived on time to save Jian Wushuang. Another reason was because all Jian Wushuang did was run. Now that Emperor Bai was not around, no one could stop him. Furthermore, Jian Wushuang did not show any signs of wanting to escape and wanted to fight him straight on. How could he miss such a precious chance? Die, Jian Wushuang! Demon King Chen Yu roared as 6 more arms grew to make up a total of 8. Chapter 21-23 Battle against Demon King Chen Yu. The Demon King Chen Yu suddenly exploded in size and was 10 feet tall. His skin completely turned into bronze, and each of his 8 hands gripped a different weapon. Sword, bats, mirrors, seals at the same time. A vertical third eye slowly opened in between his eyebrows. It was charming but released red light. At that moment, all 8 of his arms swung at Jian Wushuang. Each arm gripped tight of the respective weapons, as each attack brought about limitless demonic aura. Jian Wushuang had experienced the power of these weapons firsthand before. He dared not to be careless. Humph! Jian Wushuang grunted as his divine body grew in size. Arms started to grow out of his body. His giant divine body looked like a giant vortex that swallowed everything there was. A special sword essence of gale boiled. Sword principal Xian Luo. Mixed elements spirit. Sword lights swept out in all directions. Qian Wushuang had improved greatly over the course of half a month when he had meditated to the purple exotic beast within the heaven-repairing palace. His understanding of the various doctrines and his sword skills had increased greatly. When he cast sword principal Xian Luo, not only was it more powerful, the entire process had been much smoother and seemed more natural. Clang! 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 Sounds of metals crashing together rang out loud as the monstrous aura swept uncontrollably outwards. Jian Wushuang fought the Demon King Chen Yu head-on. His divine power was boiling. Within a second, both had exchanged blows at least 100 times. Using his 8 arms and weapons, Demon King Chen Yu attacked in a frenzy with incredible power. However, Jian Wushuang had managed to parry all the attacks without fail using sword principal Xian Luo. He was unharmed. When I last fought this brat, he was battered and exhausted. This time, he was able to hold his ground well. Demon King Chen Yu thought coldly. A vicious aura then erupted and swept out in all directions. A ray of blood-red light burst forth from his third eye between his eyebrows. This light was excellent, glaring, and fast. At such a short distance, its sudden appearance did not allow Jian Wushuang to have any time to defend against it. Uffed, the blood-red light penetrated his body and went straight for his soul. Haha, soul attack! It would probably threaten or kill me if it was cast back in the three emperors' world. But now, Jian Wushuang laughed in disdain. He was different from when he was still in the three emperors' world. Ever since he had refined the soul-swallowing pearl, the strength of Jian Wushuang's soul had improved significantly. His soul was no longer his weakness. It had become his advantage instead. The power of the blood-red light was reduced when it passed through the 5-gem armor. The remaining power was diminished by over 90% before it finally broke through all the defenses and crashed into his soul. There was a slight jerk in his consciousness before it returned to normal. Just by looking at him, he seemed to be unaffected. Die! Demon King Chen charged after the blood-red light shot out of the eye on his forehead. The power of the 8 divine weapons were fully utilized, and the most terrifying among them was a blood-red slash. The powerful attack had Jian Wushuang completely surrounded. Demon King Chen, you thought that even if Jian Wushuang were able to block the attacks, he could not do so as there would be a blank in his consciousness after the soul attack. In reality, the unique sword essence swept over Jian Wushuang as he cast Mixed Elements Spirit, a move from Sword Principal Xian Luo. He managed to block the attacks easily. The powerful force barely managed to force him to take a few steps back. He blocked it. Demon King Chen Yu was surprised. Jian Wushuang regained his balance and smirked. Demon King Chen Yu, that move was decent. It is a pity that you cannot harm me. Now try this. Jian Wushuang's eyes turned cold as the sword essence he radiated changed. The essence before was unrestricted and felt like it could devour everything. At that instant, it felt like it had become the supreme power in this world. A will of the emperor that surpassed even that of the 9th heaven swept out in all directions. Jian Wushuang held the Blood Mountain sword with 4 of his arms. A huge amount of divine power and bloodline power was transfused into the sword steadily. He grew in size. At that moment, it was as though Jian Wushuang had morphed into a supreme emperor, and the sword that he was holding high was the emperor's sword. King Sword Principal. It was the most powerful secret skill that Jian Wushuang had. However, King Sword Principal was a poorly offensive skill. Furthermore, it needed time to channel. This was a skill used only when people wanted to use their ultimate skill head-on. On the other hand, Sword Principal Xian Luo was a skill best used in close-quarter battles. Jian Wushuang could only cast the first move of the King Sword Principal for a long time. Even so, the power was still incredible. Now, after half a month of meditating within the Heaven Repairing Palace, there was a leap in his understanding of sword doctrine and sword skills. This allowed him to cast the second move in the King Sword Principal. The move that Jian Wushuang had cast was the second move in King Sword Principal. Die! Jian Wushuang yelled as he slashed his sword downwards. The power had already accumulated to the maximum. This slash split the sky. The entire space was split into 2 right away. Wherever the sword slash passed, it erased everything. Wowlala! The powerful slash appeared in front of the demon King Chenyu. His iris constricted when he saw this move. He knew that just based on power alone, this attack without a doubt had already reached the power level of a stage 3 great emperor. This brat, Demon King Chun, you swung the arm which was holding the large black bat ferociously. Boom! A mighty shadow of a black bat appeared in the space and crashed into the slash. Chapter 21-24, The Final Hope Bang. A deafening bang reverberated in the air. When the 2 attacks met, the space around cracked as though it was made of paper. After the clash, Jian Wushuang backed off immediately. As for Demon King Chenyu, he too took 3 steps back. After the 3 heavy steps, Demon King Chen Yu raised his head and looked at the Demon King Chenyu and frowned. This brat managed to force me to back off. Even though he had the upper hand in this clash, it was very small. Most importantly, the sword light forced him back. This meant that Jian Wushuang had the power to threaten him. Demon King Chenyu, that is your maximum power? Jian Wushuang stood in the air as he smiled at Demon King Chen Yu coldly. Rage filled his heart before he had his temper back in control. This brat has an extraordinary power level. It is almost impossible for me to kill him alone. My target this time is the Heaven Repairing Palace. There is no need for me to waste my time on him. Demon King Chen, you thought. He moved after he made up his mind. This time, he did not move towards Jian Wushuang. His target was the heaven-repairing palace. Jian Wushuang frowned when he saw this. Take this, Demon King Chenyu. Jian Wushuang roared as his deep voice reverberated through the battlefield. Dark jade light burst forth from the 9 ancient god stars on top of his forehead as the divine power around him boiled. Ancient god secret skills, moon-picking skill. Heaven and earth shook as the space around Demon King Chen Yu started to constrict. As for Jian Wushuang's current power level, the moon-picking skill could restrain even people like Demon King Chen Yu to a great extent. This secret skill, Demon King Chen Yu was surprised. A large, soft hand started to float towards him, as though a mother was about to touch her baby. This large hand made Demon King Chen Yu cautious as he sensed danger. Based on its power, it was even stronger than the sword skill that Jian Wushuang had cast. Even though Jian Wushuang is not a stage 3 great emperor, he still has many tricks up his sleeves. Demon King Chen Yu thought as he turned even more ferocious. Wowlala! Monstrous clouds of demonic mist filled the sky instantly. Scram! The space-time which constrained him exploded with a roar as he swung the blade he held in one of his hands. A mirage of a colossal blade appeared and descended upon everyone. It tore everything in its way apart. It instantly ripped the hand apart. Jian Wushuang's offense disintegrated instantly. His purpose was not to injure Demon King Chen Yu, but to halt him for a brief moment when the Demon King was parrying the attack. At that instant, Jian Wushuang dashed in front of Demon King Chen Yu. Demon King Chen Yu, let us have a rematch. Jian Wushuang mocked. A unique sword essence could be felt radiating from him as he managed to cut off the Demon King. As for his current power level and sword principal Xian Luo, he had no problem stopping Demon King Chen Yu. Jian Wushuang managed to block the fury of attacks by the angry Demon King Chen Yu, stopping him from getting closer to the heaven-repairing palace. Damn it! Demon King Chen, yes, blood boiled, as he yelled at everyone who was around him. What are all of you doing? Go and destroy the heaven-repairing palace and kill everyone around here. Upon hearing this, the experts from Acheron Palace attacked. This time, Acheron Palace not only sent a stage 3 great emperor, Demon King Chen Yu, but almost every single expert they had. There were 6 great emperors. These 6 great emperors simply kept Abysmal Saint Master and East Royal Emperor occupied. In reality, not all 6 great emperors needed to be there to get the job done. Hence, 3 great emperors broke away and headed towards the heaven-repairing palace. Oh no! The Abysmal Saint Master and East Royal Emperor turned pale. However, they could not do anything to stop them. Jian Wushuang, who was fighting Demon King Chen Yu, was aware of the situation around the battlefield. He grunted as he pulled out an old mirror. He used his divine power and summoned 5 figures with powerful auras from the mirror. 5 war spirits, stop them! Jian Wushuang ordered the war spirits. The 5 war spirits dashed towards the great emperors immediately and used all their might. The 5 war spirits were like 5 great emperors. They stopped the 3 great emperors immediately. Nice one, Sword Emperor. Never would I have thought that the Sword Emperor would have such an amazing treasure. The Abysmal Saint Master, East Royal Emperor, and everyone else heaved a sigh of relief. It was already amazing that Jian Wushuang could possess such a treasure, which allowed him to have 5 great emperors as helpers. However, Jian Wushuang's face was still solemn, even though the 3 great emperors had stopped. 5 war spirits from the 5 fire godly spirit mirror indeed have the fighting power of a stage 1 great emperor and can stop the few great emperors. However, There are many emperor gods this time, Jian Wushuang muttered to himself. Indeed, there were around 20 emperor gods apart from the 7 great emperors led by Demon King Qinyu. Among these emperor gods, there were 8 who were top-tier emperor gods. The remaining were also very close to that power level. On the side of the Sanctuary Alliance were little experts on guard. The quality of these experts were also not good compared to the Acheron Palace. At the start, they could barely stop the invaders. Now, they were completely oppressed. Many of the emperor gods from Acheron Palace had freed themselves and started attacking the heaven-repairing palace. These emperor gods would have posed no problems on a normal day. However, no matter Jian Wushuang, Abysmal Saint Master, or East Royal Emperor could not free themselves to deal with them. Only one of the war spirits could find the chance to go and stop those emperor gods. However, that would not be effective as there were too many emperor gods. Soon, these emperor gods appeared in front of the heaven-repairing palace and started to attack the palace with all their might. Even though the power level was nothing compared to the Demon King Qinyu, the heaven-repairing palace was already severely damaged by Demon King Qinyu and was at the brink of collapsing. Even though the attacks were not very powerful, they could still potentially destroy the palace once and for all. Chapter 21-25. The 2 men who broke through. Boom, boom, boom. Waves of attacks were being cast by the emperor gods as they crashed heavily on the heaven-repairing palace. After all these attacks, the palace started to shake vigorously. Seeing this, Jian Wushuang's eyes turned cold. He was facing a choice. The choice of whether to cast his soul attack. Since the start of the battle, Jian Wushuang had not cast his soul attack, no matter how his battle went against Demon King Qinyu. In reality, his soul attack was extremely powerful even without casting any soul attack secret skills or with the help of Soul Swallowing Pearl. His soul attack was powerful enough to threaten a Stage 2 Great Emperor. Now that he had mastered 3 divine lights, a soul attack secret skill from the ancient past, his soul attacks would be very powerful and destructive. Even though he could not free himself in his battle with Demon King Qinyu, soul attacks were very bizarre and could directly affect the emperor gods. Once he had cast soul attack, it could instantly kill all emperor gods who were attacking the heaven-repairing palace. However, once he did this, his trump card would be made clear. Soul Swallowing Pearl and his soul attack were trump cards that he wanted to hide. Emperor Bai also reminded him personally to not use this trump card unless absolutely necessary, as it could be of great use and greatly damage the opponents during the final battle against the 3 emperors' world. The element of surprise would be lost if this trump card was revealed early to the 3 emperors' world. Hence, Jian Wushuang was hesitant. In this scenario, if I do not use my soul attack to kill these emperor gods, heaven-repairing palace might be destroyed. The huge cost that the Sanctuary Alliance incurred would go to waste. Jian Wushuang thought as he made his decision. Looks like I have to use this move. Jian Wushuang took a deep breath. It looked like he was still keeping Demon King Qinyu occupied and stopped him from having any way to attack. Jian Wushuang was preparing his soul attack secretly. Right when he was about to cast soul attack, whoosh, whoosh, 2 figures, one after another, dashed out from within the palace. At the same time, 2 overbearing auras filled the entire battlefield. Jian Wushuang looked at the 2 figures immediately. One of them was a middle-aged man who wore a green shirt, while the other was a young man with white hair and eyes. Both of them looked around coldly. They were Underworld God and Emperor God Tianling. The auras that radiated from both of them were far more powerful than that of an Emperor God, especially an Underworld God. His aura was on par with a Stage 2 Great Emperor, Abysmal Saint Master. They broke through. Jian Wushuang's eyes lit up. Abysmal Saint Master and East Royal Emperor Tu were elated. Indeed, both of them had broken through. They were already at the brim of the Emperor God realm. With the help of Heaven Repairing Palace, it was almost guaranteed for them to reach the realm of Great Emperor. Both of them wanted to get more opportunities within the Heaven Repairing Palace, so they were not in a rush to break through. Like Underworld God, he could have broken through on the 5th day in the palace. He did not waste time on breaking through, as he knew he could do so even after he left the palace. Instead, he spent the time meditating. Emperor God Tianling could have broken through on the 12th day in the palace. Both of them wanted to benefit more from the palace. However, they felt that the Heaven Repairing Palace was in danger, and hence both of them made the decision on the spot to break through. Now, they stood in front of everyone as great emperors. Humph, bastards from Akron Palace. Underworld God scanned the battlefield coldly as he fixed his gaze on the Emperor Gods attacking the palace frenziedly. Immediately, boom. It looked like a simple step, but the Underworld God was like a large demonic beast as he appeared in the middle of these Emperor Gods. Waves of green light engulfed everyone around. Those lights were sharp claws, each with the ability to tear heaven and earth apart. Oh no! When the Emperor Gods reacted, their faces turned pale. They had no time to block the attack. Puffed, puffed, puffed. Terrifying power killed 6 Emperor Gods straight away. After Underworld God attacked, Emperor God Tianling was not too far behind. A black spear appeared out of nowhere from behind one of the great emperors. It had an incredible aura and terrifying destructive power as it targeted the heart. No, the great emperor from Akron Palace was shocked. He was in the middle of a heated battle against one of the war spirits and did not expect a spear to come out of nowhere. This powerful spear had appeared too suddenly. Even though the great emperor tried his best to shift his body to the side to avoid striking the heart, the spear still collided hard with his divine body. Puff! A mouthful of blood came out of his mouth as he turned extremely pale. A top-tier stage, one great emperor. This great emperor backed off immediately, staring at Emperor God Tianling in the eye as he was severely injured. Emperor God looked at his prey coldly as he continued his attack. Seeing this, Jian Wushuang, Abysmal Saint Master, and East Royal Emperor were relieved. The reactions of the experts from the Akron Palace were quite the opposite. Fear was written all over their faces. Originally, at the great emperor level, the lineup had been even as each was preoccupied by another person of similar power level. This was why the Emperor Gods could attack the palace. Now, with the addition of Underworld God and Emperor God Tianling, the balance was broken. Underworld God, who had the power level of a Stage 2 Great Emperor, charged into the lines of Akron Palace and started a massacre. The tides of the battle turned once these two men entered the battle. Now, Sanctuary Alliance had the absolute advantage against both Great Emperors and Emperor Gods. The experts from Akron Palace could no longer threaten the Heaven Repairing Palace. What was left to do for Jian Wushuang and his friends was for them to try their best and kill the remaining experts from Akron Palace. Chapter 21, 26 Desperate Measures. Kill them all. East Royal Emperor eyes were bloodshot as he fought a great emperor from Akron Palace with a war spirit. Since all of you dare to come to Heaven Repairing Palace, you should be prepared to die. The Abysmal Saint Master screamed. He turned into a dark beast and fully displayed his Stage 2 Great Emperor fighting power. He managed to suppress 2 great emperors from Akron Palace. Underworld God killed most of the Emperor Gods and began focusing on his attacks on a great emperor from Akron Palace. The great emperor retreated as the Underworld God used his Stage 2 Great Emperor fighting power. Emperor God Tianling continued to chase the great emperor, which he had wounded, as he got closer to killing him. The last great emperor was in the worst state as he was being attacked by 4 war spirits. As for Demon King Chenyu, he was occupied by Jian Wushuang and had no chance to help his other teammates. Damn all of you brats! Demon King Chenyu's eyes were bloodshot as a terrifying killing intent radiated from him. He was burning with rage as the 8 divine weapons swung around crazily in an attempt to kill Jian Wushuang. However, his efforts were in vain as he could not even harm Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang could stop all his attacks using mixed elements spirit from the sword Principal Xian Luo alone. Even though he was passive and felt sullen, he did not mind at all. As for the current situation, the Sanctuary Alliance had an advantage. Lord Demon King, I cannot hold on much longer. Lord Demon King, let's retreat. Lord Demon King, many urgent calls came from all around the battlefield as the great emperors from Acheron Palace could not hold their ground much longer. It was natural given the large gap in their power levels. Even though each great emperor had the ability to survive the most dire situations, that was only applicable if they were running away. Now, they were obviously at a disadvantage. If they did not run, they were simply awaiting their death. Bastard! Hearing the surrounding voices, Demon King Chun Yu was angered even more. Acheron Palace had already failed many times. I have lost face in front of Kaiser Blood and Lord Fun. This time, Acheron Palace has already sent almost every expert it had. I even came down personally to take charge. If we were to fail again, my dignity and that of the Acheron would cease to exist, and we would become a joke in the eyes of Holocaust sect. This time we cannot fail. Kill. Continue to kill. If all else fails, cast soul ignition. Demon King Chun Yu roared as his voice blasted out loudly over the battlefield. Hearing this, the experts from Acheron Palace were shocked. Under these circumstances, Demon King Chun Yu was still prioritizing his dignity. He asked them to give it their all and cast soul ignition. The experts from Acheron Palace were stunned as their faces turned dark. Under normal circumstances, they would be willing to give it their all. But soul ignition? Everyone knew that one would definitely die if they cast soul ignition. All the experts from Acheron Palace had taken a very long time to reach where they were right now. Who would die willingly? Most importantly, even if they risked their lives, they still might not be able to turn the tides of this battle, or even kill a few great emperors from Sanctuary Alliance. Furthermore, even if they could kill a few great emperors, or destroy the Acheron Palace to disrupt the plans of Sanctuary Alliance, it would cost them 6 great emperors. It was not a worthy trade. If they died this way, there would be no value or meaning in their deaths. Who would be willing to do something like this? Hence, the experts from Acheron Palace fell quiet after hearing the roar from Demon King Chenyu. None of them chose to cast soul ignition. The experts that Acheron Palace left in the ancient mystery land transmitted a message to Demon King Chenyu. Lord Demon King, the reinforcements from Sanctuary Alliance arrived at the ancient mystery land. There are a total of 6 great emperors and countless almighties. They will reach heaven repairing palace soon. Demon King Chen Yu's face turned dark when he received this message. He was not surprised by this. The ancient mystery land was within the eternal chaotic world and was under the control of the Sanctuary Alliance. The experts guarding Heaven Repairing Palace would definitely request reinforcement from Sanctuary Alliance when they were under attack. Sanctuary Alliance would send experts to reinforce immediately. He planned to destroy the Heaven Repairing Palace and kill some experts from Sanctuary Alliance and flee before the reinforcements could arrive. What actually happened was the Heaven Repairing Palace was not destroyed, but the reinforcements were already arriving. He would be salty if he had to leave this way. Brat, you forced me to do this. Demon King Chun Yu roared as a terrifying demonic mist boiled all around him. At the same time, streaks of blood-red secret restrictions lit up as they covered his whole body. He looked like he was made entirely out of blood. At the same time, the aura he had grew to a whole new level. Jian Wushuang was shocked. He could deduce that Demon King Chen Yu had used another secret skill to boost his power, and not soul ignition. Demon King Chen Yu was risking his life and giving his all. A stage 3 great emperor chose to risk his life? How strong would he be then? Jian Wushuang then experienced it firsthand. Die! 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 Demon King Chen Yu roared with rage as his 8 arms swung the divine weapons at Jian Wushuang. It approached Jian Wushuang from every possible angle. The speed and power of the attacks had reached a whole new level. Jian Wushuang looked gloomy. Divine power boiled as he cast his sword skills again fearlessly. Boom, 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 boom. Waves of deafening collisions shook the entire battlefield. With each collision, Jian Wushuang grunted. With the sudden growth in power, Jian Wushuang took even more effort to fend off the attacks. After barely fending off these attacks, the aftershock of the attacks still managed to hurt him even though the 5-gem armor had neutralizing effects. Jian Wushuang's current divine body was extremely powerful, yet the aftershocks of Demon King Chen Yu's attack could still harm him. This proved how powerful the attacks were. Chapter 21-27, The Salty Demon King Chen Yu. The terrifying onslaught continued. The fighting power that Demon King Chen Yu displayed shocked Abysmal Saint Master, Underworld God, and everyone around. They knew they could not even fend off one attack at that level. However, Jian Wushuang could fight the Demon King head-on single-handedly without backing off at all. Demon King Chen Yu could not deal with Jian Wushuang even after he had risked his life and given his all. His face was dark. After many collisions, the aura radiating from Jian Wushuang did not weaken at all. Under the fury of attacks, Jian Wushuang was unharmed. This brat, Demon King Chen Yu, gritted his teeth and thought. What he did not know was that Jian Wushuang was actually hurt. After each collision, his divine body would be hurt. However, his divine power would heal the injury instantly. This caused the illusion that Jian Wushuang was completely unhurt. This was how overpowered the perfect chaotic holy body in the 7th step of inverse cultivation was. Demon King Chen Yu could not do much to Jian Wushuang. Furthermore, Chen Yu, another message came through. This time, Demon King Chen Yu was surprised as the person sending the message was Kaiser Blood. Chen Yu, leave immediately. Emperor Bai is headed your way. Kaiser Blood said urgently. Demon King Chen Yu did not care about the 6 great emperors who were coming to assist. There was no way they could hurt him. However, this was not the case for Emperor Bai. He had fought Emperor Bai head-on before. He clearly knew how powerful and scary that man was. The last time they had fought in the 3 Emperors' world, he had some confidence. However, this time they were fighting in the ancient mystery land in the territory of Emperor Bai. His life would be at risk if he was overwhelmed by Emperor Bai and the experts from both the Sanctuary Alliance and the Special Tribes Alliance. Even though Demon King Chen Yu was extremely unwilling to retreat, he dared not stay. He took a deep breath and shouted, "Retreat!" His voice reverberated across the battlefield. He had originally attacked Jian Wushuang in a frenzy. Now he backed off quickly. The experts from the other battlefield had long reached their limit. Now they heard the command to retreat. They heaved a sigh of relief and started to retreat. Humph! You do not simply come and go at will. Chase them and kill them all. Jian Wushuang commanded coldly. Whoosh! Jian Wushuang turned into a shooting star and started the chase. Kill, kill, kill them all. Abysmal Saint Master, Underworld God, Emperor God Tianling, and East Royal Emperor chased alongside Jian Wushuang. As for the 5 war spirits, Jian Wushuang recalled them to the 5-fire godly spirit mirror. The experts from the 2 different sides started a game of cat and mouse. They flew across the ancient battlefield at amazing speed. Jian Wushuang and his allies had a very strong killing intent as they chased the people running quickly. Within the ancient battlefield, they had no additional consideration as it was under the control of Sanctuary Alliance. The situation was different for the experts from Acheron Palace. The 6 great emperors from Sanctuary Alliance and Special Tribes Alliance have already entered the ancient battlefield. I have already messaged the others to see if they will stop the bastards from Acheron Palace in time. Abysmal Saint Master said, giving chase. Jian Wushuang's face turned dark. He knew clearly that there had to be a wormhole within the ancient battlefield. There would be no way that the experts from Acheron Palace could sneak past the various defenses that Sanctuary Alliance had put in place otherwise. Now, these experts from Acheron Palace were heading towards the wormhole. They had no idea where the wormhole was or whether the reinforcements could stop the intruders in time. It doesn't matter how many I can kill, I have to try and kill some of the people from Acheron Palace, Jian Wushuang said emotionlessly. All of the bastards from Acheron Palace should die. Underworld God roared with great killing intent. His eyes were filled with anger. Underworld God hated Acheron Palace greatly. He hated them, not just because they were part of the 3 emperors' world. More importantly, they had tried to assassinate him before the eternal chaotic world was aware of the crisis, when he had just broken through and become an emperor god and displayed great potential. Acheron Palace judged that there was a high possibility that he would become one of the higher-ups in the Sanctuary Alliance. Hence, they had planned an assassination once they received news that he had broken through. For Underworld God, he barely survived the assassination. More importantly, his master, whom he respected greatly, had died in the process. Underworld God could not forget this grudge even though years had passed. Now he had finally broken through and become a great emperor and faced Acheron Palace once again. Kill! Kill them all! Underworld God roared. Emperor God Tianling and East Royal Emperor God at the side wanted to kill the experts from Acheron Palace badly. The chase lasted half an hour. During this time, Emperor Bai arrived at the ancient battlefield and was finding his way to get to the experts from Acheron Palace. The experts from Acheron Palace finally reached the space which hid the formation. The hidden formation was already operating at full force. The camouflage was gone as it appeared in front of everyone. There were 4 emperor gods in black cloaks who Demon King Chen used specially left behind to receive him. They were the few who activated the formation. The wormhole was ready, and the experts from Acheron Palace simply needed to step inside. Faster! Demon King Chen Yu shouted as he and the other 6 great emperors dashed forward at their fastest speed. The distance between the 7 people and the wormhole was shortening. Oh no! The experts from Sanctuary Alliance all had black faces. Jian Wushuang knitted his eyebrows tightly. No matter what, I have to kill some of them. Jian Wushuang gritted his teeth. At his forehead were 9 ancient god stars, which were radiating jade black light. 2 of the topmost stars suddenly disintegrated. Jian Wushuang casted Star Destruction skill, and he destroyed 2 ancient god stars. Ancient God Secret skill. Moon-picking skill. Rumble. Jian Wushuang's bloodline power erupted after using Star Destruction skill. He cast Moon-picking skill right away using this powerful energy. The oppressive space-time started to suppress the 7 men who were running away. Chapter 21-28 Double Loss. The complete moon picking skill was absolutely formidable. The only question Jian Wushuang had was whether the skill could suppress 7 people at the same time, third stage Great Emperor Demon King Qin Yu included. Desperate, he had to crush 2 ancient god stars to increase his bloodline power, amplifying the skill's powers. Wang, heaven and earth, space and time were all being suppressed. The 7 people, Demon King Qin Yu included, who were about to jump into the wormhole, instantly stopped. What is this? They were all frightened, except Demon King Qin Yu. Die! The experts from the Sanctuary Alliance took this opportunity, while the 7 were being suppressed, to make their way towards them. All of them made their moves in a frenzy. The great emperors who were being suppressed could not block the attacks. Hung, hung, hung. A terrifying roar resonated sequentially, and boundless power was being dispersed. The suppression only lasted for a moment before it disappeared. Run! A great emperor from the Archilon Palace gave a loud roar. They had no intention of getting into an intense fight with the Sanctuary Alliance experts, and all made a run for the wormhole. Xiao! 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 4 figures jumped into the wormhole. Finally, it was quiet. The wormhole was already activated. In front of it, Jian Wushuang levitated without a word. It's a pity a few of them got away, the abysmal Saint Master snorted. There's nothing we can do about it. Those great emperors had impressive skills up their sleeves. Without the Sword Emperor's time-space suppression and constriction, they would all have run away, East Royal Emperor said. Indeed, if a great emperor wanted to escape, it would be extremely difficult to take him down. But with Jian Wushuang's moon-picking skill constricting the heavens, earth, space, and time itself, and with such intensity, even a great emperor could not resist. It was also because of that skill that the Archilon Palace suffered its own fair share of losses at the last minute. Regardless, we of Sanctuary Alliance did not suffer too much of a loss this time. On the contrary, this was our victory, Jian Wushuang said. Our victory. The surrounding great emperors looked at each other, all smiles. Even the cold and indifferent emperor god Tianling had a smile on his face. In front of them were 3 cold corpses floating. From the looks of it, they were all great emperor-level experts from the Archilon Palace. Counting Demon King Qin Yu, there were 7 great emperors. But now they had taken down 3, all thanks to Jian Wushuang's moon-plucking skill, leaving them vulnerable when they were cut down. The Archilon Palace had poured their resources into this battle with the intention of destroying the Heaven-repairing palace and killing Sanctuary Alliance experts. But in the end, the palace had not been destroyed, and the Sanctuary Alliance had only lost a few Sir Gods and Emperor Gods, but the Archilon Palace had lost all their Emperor Gods and 3 great emperors. This battle was definitely the Sanctuary Alliance's victory. Xiao! 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 Experts from the Sanctuary Alliance and Special Tribes Alliance all started pouring in, along with 6 great emperors and many almighties. Soon after, Emperor Bai came down personally. When those experts saw the 3 corpses, they were all stunned, but immensely glad. 3 great emperors. The entire 3 emperors' world, along with the Archilon Palace, only had a handful of great emperors. This was definitely a major setback for them. Not only did they fail in their mission, but they had lost so many people as well during the battle. The ancient mystery land was always in Sanctuary Alliance's control. We never expected the Archilon Palace to place such a formation without a trace. Emperor Bai waved his hand, and soon the formation the Archilon Palace had left behind started to fall apart. Come, let's go to the Heaven-repairing palace, Emperor Bai said. The Heaven-repairing palace was on the verge of collapsing after the destruction Demon King Qin Yu had caused, but soon it was restored to its previous position. The emperor gods were still cultivating within the palace. They were not affected by what had happened outside. Unfortunately, Jian Wushuang, underworld god, and emperor god Tianling were no longer able to re-enter the palace. The underworld god and emperor god Tianling were fine with that, having already reached their objective of reaching great emperor levels. But Jian Wushuang, it's a shame, give me more time, and I could have finished the second scroll of the immortal celestial body. Jian Wushuang had some regrets, but he could do nothing about it. He had to protect the heaven-repairing palace. Although he had only been inside for half a month, his skills had already improved tremendously. For the immortal celestial Bodhi's second scroll, he was certain he could master it. It was simply a matter of time. Jian Wushuang and the others waited outside the palace. Another fortnight passed within the blink of an eye. The emperor gods started to exit the palace. I wonder how many managed to become great emperors out of the 9 of them. Jian Wushuang and the other experts waited in anticipation. At this juncture, every extra great emperor would influence the upcoming battle significantly. Soon, all 9 remaining experts walked out of the palace, and the palace returned to its dilapidated facade. Jian Wushuang watched the 9 people closely. After a moment, he beamed. Not bad. Even Emperor Bai nodded. The other experts were surprised as well. They all knew that amongst the 9 people, 6 of them were at pinnacle Emperor God level. 3 of them were already at Great Emperor level. Chapter 21-29 5 Great Emperors, the Heaven-Repairing Palace did wonders. The reason why the Sanctuary Palace had paid such a high price to activate it was to create as many great emperors as possible. They had estimated only 3 great emperors would emerge, for if they were lucky. But now, 3 great emperors came out from the remaining 9 people, adding Underworld God, and Emperor God Tianling would make a total of 5. 12 seats, 5 great emperors. It was way beyond the Sanctuary Alliance's expectations. Amongst the 3 new great emperors was one Jian Wushuang recognized. It was Emperor God Lu Guang. The token for her to enter the palace had been given to her personally by Jian Wushuang. She indeed had not disappointed him, having ascended to great emperor levels herself. Another person who had fought for the seat, Emperor God Zhu Xian, was not so lucky, or perhaps it was due to his lack of ability. Even though he had managed to secure a seat with his soul attack secret skill 3 Divine Lights, he was not able to reach great emperor levels within the month. Jian Wushuang took a glance at him and realized he had accepted that fact relatively calmly. Emperor God Zhu Xian had no regrets. He had tried his best. This trip was not completely futile either. Qian Mingzi did not make it either. Jian Wushuang shook his head. In terms of ability, Qian Mingzi was right after Underworld God and Emperor God Tianling. It was a pity he could not ascend to great emperor levels. Luck is a pretty unpredictable thing, after all. The activation of the palace has given us 5 more great emperors and taken down 3 of Archilon palaces. This has been a great blessing to us. It's only a pity you came out earlier than expected. Emperor Bai looked at Jian Wushuang. The surrounding experts looked at Jian Wushuang, their gazes all conflicted. The experts from the Heaven-Repairing Palace, like Emperor God Lu Guang, looked towards him with gratitude. They all knew Jian Wushuang should have had his abilities improve further in the palace, but had to leave early to resist the Archilon Palace experts. It was due to Jian Wushuang that the rest could cultivate for a full month. What's done is done. Jian Wushuang, follow me to Thunderbolt Island. Emperor Bai said. Jian Wushuang nodded. Both of them headed for Thunderbolt Island, while the other experts scattered. In Thunderbolt Island's Great Hall stood Emperor Bai, Jian Wushuang, and Ancestor Tianchen. Jian Wushuang, although you only trained for half a month, you must have gained a lot, right? Emperor Bai asked casually. Indeed, Jian Wushuang nodded. I have improved tremendously in terms of Tao understanding, and I managed to feel the rules of order. My only regret is not having complete mastering my secret skill. If not, I would have third-stage fighting powers by now. Of course. Even without the palace, I should be able to master it on my own. How long will that take? Emperor Bai asked. About a decade, Jian Wushuang replied. He had mastered half of the immortal celestial Bodhi's second scroll. 10 years should be enough. A decade? How about 3 years? Can you do it within 3? Emperor Bai asked. 3 years. Jian Wushuang frowned and thought for a while. Normally 3 years would be impossible, but if I had sufficient resources and treasures to supplement me, it may be possible. But may I ask, Emperor Bai, why 3 years? Jian Wushuang had questions. The battle between the eternal chaotic world and Three Emperors' world had not begun yet. What was the rush? Unless Jian Wushuang looked towards Emperor Bai. Emperor Bai and Ancestor Tian Chun had suspicious smiles on their faces. Ancestor Tian Chun said, Sword Emperor, you should know how prepared we are now. Sanctuary Alliance and Special Tribes Alliance have all made their preparations, and with the 5 extra great emperors we have now, we could fight the enemy straight on to the death if we wanted to, but not them. Jian Wushuang understood. So, both of you want to make the first move? He asked. Indeed. Emperor Bai smiled. Since the eternal chaotic world is ready, there's no need to drag this out. We should strike while the enemy is unprepared. We can no longer be on the passive side. From the dark millstone to what happened at the Special Tribes Alliance to the heaven-repairing palace attack. We have been reacting to their attacks this entire time, but not once were we on the offensive. Even counting the last time you and 3 other experts snuck into Three Emperors' world to destroy the Supreme Emperor Stone, that too was reactionary. But now it is time for us to make the first move. Hearing this, Jian Wushuang nodded. May I know, Emperor Bai, Ancestor Tian Chun, about your plans? He asked. He knew if they were to tell him this, they would have drawn out a plan by now. We have one plan, and it's quite simple. ITLL be the same as the last time. Send a small team of experts to infiltrate and damage the Three Emperors' world. Emperor Bai said. What? There again. Jian Wushuang's face changed. The Three Emperors' world was the enemy's base. To send a small team to infiltrate, that place would be immensely dangerous. Chapter 2130 forestalling the last time Jian Wushuang had infiltrated the Three Emperors' world with a small team was because they had to. The dark millstone was operating, and they had to stop it. It was out of necessity. But this time, although it would be a surprise attack, there was still a high level of risk involved. Relax. Even though the risks are high, we have a more comprehensive plan in our hands. Emperor Bai smiled. Jian Wushuang started listening attentively. Jian Wushuang, the Three Emperors' world is different now. They used to have enormous formations to protect themselves, and they had spies monitoring our every move within the Sanctuary Alliance. That was why the enemy knew what you all were doing the previous time. But now, with the Supreme Emperor Stone destroyed, the Three Emperors' world no longer has large protective formations to protect themselves. The spies have all been taken off, too. You will be able to infiltrate without a trace, Emperor Bai said. Jian Wushuang squinted and asked, even though that may be true, the Three Emperors' world on its own is still very strong. If we want to hurt them badly, we need more great emperors, and that will be impossible to hide. That is correct. That is why we need you to hide. Emperor Bai smiled. Me. Jian Wushuang flinched before coming to his senses. You want me to disguise myself and let the great emperors hide within my chaos divine weapon. The last time the four experts had managed infiltrated into the three emperors' world's core, the imperial city Jian Wushuang was only at the early stage chaotic realm, with the other great emperors hiding within his blood mountain sword. Again, the same move, Jian Wushuang. Your Chaos Divine weapon is an outstanding weapon in terms of power and aura concealment abilities. Even I could not tell it was a suppressing type treasure. If our experts were to hide within it, the other experts would not be able to tell. You can still infiltrate the three emperors' world's lair, the imperial city, easily. Find the best chance and strike. Kill those experts in the shortest time possible. Not just the great emperors, but the emperor gods, sir gods, kill as many as you can. I have discussed it with Tianchen. If you pick a good time, our team will take down hundreds of almighties within the shortest time, and maybe take down some great emperors. If we are lucky, Emperor Bai said solemnly. Jian Wushuang's eyes were gleaming, trying to process everything. After a while, he nodded. Indeed, the imperial city is the three emperors' world's largest congregation of experts, with plenty of almighties. If I can find a good opportunity, I can make a dent in their forces. But after I'm done, they will naturally send their reinforcements in the shortest time possible. It'll be in danger by then. Don't rush, Emperor Bai waved his hand. That was just step one. Now, for step two, that's the most important one. The second step, Jian Wushuang's gaze shifted. A token prepared for you, Emperor Bai handed it Jian Wushuang. This token was gold from top to bottom and had an ancient aura to it. Most importantly, it had a boundless space-time power, which even Jian Wushuang could not see through. Emperor Bai, this is Jian Wushuang looked at the golden token curiosity. This is a void token, discovered by our experts in an ancient battlefield a long time ago. From the creation of the Sanctuary Alliance till now, we have only found one. Emperor Bai said. Only one. Jian Wushuang flinched. One could only imagine the rarity of this treasure. Jian Wushuang's eyes lit up. He was familiar with time-space tunnel tokens. They had them at the eternal chaotic world. But those tokens had restrictions. They could only work within the same holy kingdom. If the other party was in another kingdom, the token would not work. Those tokens were also constricted by space and time. If a certain space-time were to be locked up, the token would not work. But the token Emperor Bai was holding, it ignored space-time locks and distance. No matter how far you were, the token would work. No wonder the Sanctuary Alliance could only find one. Jian Wushuang was certain that the token must have been a rare treasure even in the ancient era. Jian Wushuang, before your team makes their move, I will gather all the experts from both the Sanctuary Alliance and the Special Tribes Alliance. Once the three emperors' world reinforcements start to come for you, use the token. Well, I'll rush through. Emperor Bai said solemnly. Jian Wushuang was taken aback by this plan, but understood completely. Send a small team of experts to forestall the imperial city and deal as much damage as possible. Then use the void token to bring in the rest of the forces to fight the enemy reinforcements. You intend to wipe them out in one shot? Jian Wushuang asked. Correct, or at least we must damage them severely. We cannot go soft on our sworn enemy. We will make our move once we get the opportunity. Emperor Bai said coldly. Chapter 2131, the second scroll, complete. The original plan between Emperor Bai and Ancestor Tianchen had only one step, which was for Jian Wushuang to infiltrate into the imperial city, use the void token, and allow all the experts from the eternal chaotic world to come in and destroy the city. But after some thought, Emperor Bai felt wiping out only the experts within the city was not enough. After all, most high-level experts would not stay in the city. From there, step 2 was formed. I have discussed this plan several times with Tianchen. It should be possible. And if we want to make our move, we should do it while the three emperors' world is not completely prepared. If you need a decade to master the secret skill and reach third stage, I'm afraid they will have been well prepared by then. So, 3 years at most. Emperor Bai looked towards Jian Wushuang. You must complete it within 3 years. If you need resources, just say. The Sanctuary Alliance has spent 6/10 of our resources opening the Heaven Repairing Palace, but the remaining resources are still plentiful. Understood. Rest assured, I will master it within 3 years, Jian Wushuang replied. Jian Wushuang was confident. 3 years may not have been a long period of time, but with enough resources, cultivating the immortal celestial Bodhi's second scroll would not be difficult. Even if he did not make it in time, he could still head for three emperors' world without third stage great emperor fighting power. Good. Emperor Bai nodded. Regarding the list of experts that will follow you, Tian Chun, and I have decided on that already. Take a look. Emperor Bai passed the list to Jian Wushuang. He took a look at it. There were 6 more great emperors on it besides him. Abysmal Saint Master, Underworld God, and Emperor God Tianling from the Sanctuary Alliance, King Qinxing, Black Dragon Emperor, and Lei Yun from the Special Tribes Alliance. 6 great emperors, 3 from each alliance. In terms of ability, Abysmal Saint Master, Underworld God, King Qinxing, and Black Dragon Emperor were second stage great emperors. Emperor God Tianling and Lei Yuan were pinnacle first stage great emperors. Add Jian Wushuang himself, and the team became extremely formidable. What do you think? Emperor Bai asked. ITLL do. Jian Wushuang nodded. But I want to add another person. Oh. Emperor Bai looked over, surprised. I have a sword servant by the name of Jian Yi. He is from the ancient era, his powers fully restored, with pinnacle second stage fighting powers. Jian Wushuang said, Pinnacle second stage. Emperor Bai and Ancestor Tian Chen's eyes gleamed. The current eternal chaotic world only had 2 people with that level of fighting power, Emperor Bai and Jian Wushuang himself. They had never heard of a third person. Sure, bring him along. Just remember the list of people, no need to mention it for now. 3 years from you, before you take off, find them one by one and don't tell them of your purpose, just in case. Emperor Bai said, Understood. Jian Wushuang soon left. Soon after Jian Wushuang returned to the Green Fire world, Ancestor Tianchen sent people to deliver the resources Jian Wushuang needed. Jian Wushuang himself began to shut himself out. In a secret room, Jian Wushuang sat in the middle of a pool. The water in the pool was emerald in color, with its own fragrance. The water was Eternal Chaotic World's rare emerald heart water, each drop containing pure and billowing divine power. A drop of this was rare in the world, but over here there was a whole pool of it. Besides that, there were other treasures. Jian Wushuang absorbed the pure power frenzily to cultivate the second scroll. The faster he absorbed, the higher the price. Every day Jian Wushuang cultivated, he used an astronomical figure of resources, enough to dumbfound an almighty. But in those circumstances, the Sanctuary Alliance did not hold back. No matter the price, as long as Jian Wushuang could cultivate in time, it would be worth it. Time passed. 3 years soon flew by. Specifically, it was only 2 years and 9 months. Within the secret room, Jian Wushuang opened his eyes, and along with it a golden light emerged. A black, jade-like complexion covered his body. Immortal Celestial Bodhi's second scroll, complete at last. Jian Wushuang clenched his fists, visibly excited. Instantly, he could feel his divine body changing. The immortal celestial body itself was an extremely powerful skill, with the divine body going through the most change upon completion of the second scroll. Without doubt, the strength of his divine body had risen to a whole new level, his self-defense mechanism now stronger. With such a strong divine body, along with the perfect chaotic holy body, he had obtained through inverse cultivation's 7-step, even if he faced a pinnacle 3rd-stage expert, he would have no fear. He would not be able to kill Jian Wushuang. Once he truly reached 3rd stage, he would be truly invincible. By then, even a 4th-stage great emperor could not stop him, and the highest one could go was the 4th stage. Besides his divine body, his divine power had increased significantly as well. This power, slightly stronger than what I expected, Jian Wushuang smiled. He could feel this billowing power. This power was way beyond what a normal great emperor could possess. Based on fundamental power itself, Jian Wushuang had already surpassed great emperors. This was inverse cultivation's advantage. It was not subject to the constrictions the land had placed. Even Demon King Chun, yes, fundamental powers, could only hit pinnacle great emperor levels. It was only because of the secret skills he had learnt, along with rules of order, that he reached 3rd stage. Jian Wushuang could not have beaten him previously in terms of power. But now, even without rules of order, based on inverse cultivation's advantage alone, along with the immortal celestial body, he was on par with Demon King Chinyu, or perhaps even stronger. Chapter 2132 setting. Oh, now, this is true 3rd stage fighting power. Jian Wushuang smiled. Although he could go head-on against Demon King Chinyu back at the Heaven Repairing Palace without fear of suppression thanks to his impressive survival abilities, in terms of true power, Jian Wushuang was still slightly lagging behind. Now, Jian Wushuang was almost stronger than Demon King Chinyu, and did not lose out at all when it came to secret skills. Jian Wushuang was confident he could take Demon King Chinyu head-on once again, and perhaps even suppress him if he played the right cards. This fighting power was of a true 3rd stage great emperor. If I could make some further improvements to reach the 3rd stage, or get the hang of some rules of order, my fighting powers would increase. Jian Wushuang shook his head and laughed. The time I've taken cultivating has simply been too short. I could not ask for more. With the immemorial celestial Bodhis 2nd scroll successfully cultivated, Jian Wushuang was ready to take off. This time, he took Jian Yi, Thunderbolt Island, within the Great Hall. Emperor Bai sat at the top, while Abysmal Saint Master, Underworld God, King Chenxing, Black Dragon Emperor, and Lei Yuan stood at the center. These 6 emperors rushed over upon Emperor Bai's transmission. Xiao, a figure appeared within the hall. It was Jian Wushuang, Sword Emperor, Ancient Emperor, Abysmal Saint Master, King Chenxing, and the others all called out. Jian Wushuang nodded and looked towards Emperor Bai. When he refined the immemorial celestial Bodhis 2nd scroll, he made sure Emperor Bai knew, who then summoned the experts. Everyone, I have gathered you all here for a special assignment. I require your collected strength. Are you all willing to join me? Emperor Bai asked the 6, Abysmal Saint Master, and others looked at each other and all nodded. Seeing this, Emperor Bai continued. The task is extraordinary, so Jian Wushuang will lead it personally. Throughout the mission, you must follow his orders. Is that understood? The 6 were taken aback, but had no objections as it was Jian Wushuang leading them. Needless to say, the 3 experts from the special tribes followed their leader, Jian Wushuang. The 3 Sanctuary Alliance members had no objections either, even Emperor God Tianling, because regardless of strength or status, no one could beat Jian Wushuang, so of course he should lead them. Seeing the expressions of the 6 emperors, Jian Wushuang smiled, then solemnly said, "For special reasons, I cannot tell you the specific task content for the time being. There is another thing. I'll need to put the 6 of you in an uncomfortable position. You all may be slightly aggrieved by it." Aggrieved? The 6 emperors were all surprised, but all were fine except the Abysmal Saint Master. He had already guessed what Jian Wushuang had wanted to do, because Jian Wushuang had said the same thing to him before entering the imperial city back at the Three Emperors' world. Sure enough, Jian Wushuang spoke. The divine weapon I hold is a suppressive treasure. I will need to suppress all 6 of you within this divine weapon to facilitate movement. Are you all willing? The expressions of all 6 people changed, except the abysmal Saint Master. After all, being suppressed meant handing their lives over to another person. I'm okay with that. Abysmal Saint Master was the first that spoke. He had stayed in Jian Wushuang's divine weapon for years previously at the Three Emperors' world. With that experience, he had no fear. King Chen Xing came from the ancient god clan and had pledged allegiance to Jian Wushuang. Naturally, he did not hesitate too much and directly agreed. Ha! It's only for a short period of time. It means nothing. Whatever the ancient emperor commands, I will never refuse. The Black Dragon Emperor smiled. Jian Wushuang had saved her life and clan in the past. She had already developed feelings for Jian Wushuang long before the request. She would never reject Jian Wushuang's request to stay within the divine weapon. 3 of the 6 had agreed. Underworld God and Lei Yuan hesitated for a while, but eventually agreed. 1 person was left, and it was Emperor God Tianling. Emperor God Tianling. No, Great Emperor Tianling. Emperor Bei's voice resonated. I know what your concerns are. Rest assured, Jian Wushuang will not take his personal revenge against you. Abysmal Saint Master was in the same situation as you previously. Emperor God Tianling flinched and took a glance at Abysmal Saint Master. Eventually, he agreed. Like that, all 6 great emperors agreed. Since you all have agreed, please do not resist. Jian Wushuang smiled as his blood mountain sword turned into a huge mountain and suppressed the 6 great emperors. If it had been under other circumstances, it would not have been easy these 6 great emperors. It was much easier to do it when they did not resist. Soon all 6 of them were suppressed within Jian Wushuang's blood mountain sword. For Jian Yi, he was long within the blood mountain sword. Jian Wushuang, take care and do not be reckless. This is a life and death situation for the eternal chaotic world. Emperor Bai instructed. Understood. Jian Wushuang nodded and made his way. Within the boundless dark void, the dark millstone the size of a few kingdoms floated there quietly. It had long stopped moving. Within the dark millstone lie the Three Emperors' world. Jian Wushuang had arrived at the edge of the dark millstone. Before arriving at the dark millstone, Jian Wushuang could not help but sigh. The Supreme Emperor's stone had not been destroyed the previous time I was here. There was such a huge formation then. The Sanctuary Alliance took great measures to send my team of 4 in the Three Emperors' world. But now, the temporary seals around the dark millstone do not stop me from entering without a trace. They encountered several seals along the way, but Jian Wushuang had managed to make his way around it. Soon, he was within Three Emperors' world territory. Chapter 2133, Revisiting Three Emperors' world. At the edge of the Three Emperors' world, Jian Wushuang's figure appeared above the boundless void. As he appeared, his appearance and the aura on him began to change. Within a moment of time, he turned into a cold young man with a sword on his back. His aggressive aura was too strong to not notice. It was as if he would strike anyone down the moment he was not pleased. His aura was at a regular Emperor God's level, meaning to say a middle-stage chaotic realm expert. There were many similar experts in the Three Emperors' world. Let's go. Jian Wushuang went straight for the Three Emperors' world's core, the Imperial City. With his previous experience, he was able to navigate the way there easily. After some time, Jian Wushuang arrived at the void near the Imperial City. Jian Wushuang stood in the void and looked over the huge city. The last time Jian Wushuang had been there, the Supreme Emperor's Stone had already been destroyed, leading to the collapse of the imperial city's formation. But it seemed that the formation had been reactivated. Looks like the Three Emperors' world has found another power source, Jian Wushuang mumbled, but was not surprised. A formation only the size of a city did not require too much power. It was not hard for the Three Emperors' world to reactivate it. But the dark millstone outside was too gigantic. With the Supreme Emperor's Stone destroyed, they could not find an alternative power source, which kept it from reactivating. Jian Wushuang took a deep breath and headed towards the imperial city gates. The gate was heavily guarded, as usual. During his way in, Jian Wushuang felt a concealed aura. The aura could not have been sensed by normal experts, but Jian Wushuang could feel it clearly. It was a great emperor seeing to the guarding of a city gate personally. Jian Wushuang smiled. Obviously, after the previous incident, the Three Emperors' world had increased their level of vigilance. Jian Wushuang was immediately stopped at the gate, and a silver-haired elder appeared in front of him. "Do you intend to enter the imperial city?" he asked Jian Wushuang. "Indeed." Jian Wushuang nodded. "May I get your name, as well as which family or domain you come from?" the silver-haired elder asked. Jian Wushuang frowned and said, "My name is Duan Feng. I have no family, and I've always acted alone. From the Dragon Heart God Mansion." The Dragon Heart God Mansion was one of 48 God Mansions the Three Emperors' world controlled. Jian Wushuang himself had never traveled to that place. "Duan Feng? Dragon Heart God Mansion?" The silver-haired elder nodded. "Please give me a moment to confirm this." "Confirm?" Jian Wushuang felt something was amiss. Unexpectedly, the silver-haired elder raised his head and said, "Sir, I have just talked to the ruler of the Dragon Heart God Mansion owner. He has not heard of a middle-stage chaotic realm expert by the name of Duan Feng. What nonsense is this? The Three Emperors' world is so large with countless experts. I myself rarely show my face outside. Of course, I would be unrecognized by others. You mean I cannot enter the imperial city because of this?" Jian Wushuang was angered. "My apologies, but the Sanctuary Alliance has already given their orders. Any lone experts that we are unable to properly identify are all barred from entering the imperial city. You'll need an expert from the high ranks of the Sanctuary Alliance to give you the green light," the silver-haired elder said. "Such a hassle. Might as well not enter." Jian Wushuang snorted and turned away. The silver-haired elder watched Jian Wushuang leave emotionlessly. Duan Feng? A middle-stage chaotic realm expert. Unrecognized by anyone, what a freak. Under these circumstances, it's best we don't allow these kinds of people into the imperial city, the silver-haired elder mumbled to himself. In a void not far from the imperial city, Jian Wushuang stopped. His expression was visibly sour. "How could I be rejected at the gates?" Jian Wushuang mumbled, "It's normal. You entered the imperial city using the same method as previously, causing them their Supreme Emperor's Stone. With that heavy lesson, it's normal for them to take precautions," the suppressed Abysmal Saint Master said from within the Blood Mountain sword. "Our plan was to infiltrate and attack the Three Emperors' world's lair from within. If we can't even get through their gates, how will we succeed?" Underworld God said. Jian Wushuang had explained the mission to the great emperors on the way. "It is a bit troublesome, but there is a way," Jian Wushuang said solemnly. "They simply bar unknown experts from entering. If that's the case, I'll create an identity or simply disguise myself as a Three Emperors world expert." "Disguise? How would you disguise yourself?" Abysmal Saint Master asked. "No rush. Let's find the Three Emperors world's intelligence unit first." Without further explanation, he went on his way. The three emperors' world had 12 states, 84 god mansions, and countless domains. Within such a large domain, the influence spheres were similarly complicated, and naturally there would be organizations that sold intelligence. Jian Wushuang soon found a relatively powerful intelligence unit. I need intelligence regarding some chaotic realm experts, those that have disappeared or fallen. The more ancient the better. Jian Wushuang instructed. Please wait. The personnel immediately started organizing their information. Within the Blood Mountain Sword, the 7 great emperors, Jian Yi included, looked at each other. They understood what Jian Wushuang was trying to do. He was about to disguise himself as a 3 emperors world expert that had vanished for years. Those kinds of experts hid well, to the extent that no one knew if they were still around. It was normal for those kinds of experts to appear once in a while. Within moments, the personnel from the intelligence unit handed Jian Wushuang a detailed list of the chaotic realm experts. Jian Wushuang began analyzing the list. There were 10 people on the list, all of whom had vanished. The youngest missing case was 160,000 years ago, whereas the oldest missing case had happened 8 million years ago. It was almost certain that he had fallen. Chapter 21, 34-Old Monster, Hong Chen. These people, Jian Wushuang took a close look at every expert's details on the list, but finally his eyes fixated on one person. This person was named Hong Chen, also known as Old Monster Hong Chen, Old Demon Hong Chen, and he had vanished over 1 million years ago without a trace. The information indicated that due to Old Monster Hong Chen's inward nature, he had made no friends. He was quite the willful devil as well. It was because of that he found himself chased down by a family he had offended 1 million years ago but escaped from, badly hurt. He was not heard of since. This old monster Hong Chen has disappeared for over 1 million years. He has most likely fallen. Maybe he's still alive, but still too afraid to show his face against so many enemies he had made. No matter, his identity will be useful to me. Jian Wushuang smiled. He chose Old Monster Hong Chen out of 10 vanished experts for 2 reasons. He had no friends, making him unrecognizable, and his willful personality would make things easier for Jian Wushuang. Him it is. With that settled, Jian Wushuang's appearance started to change. Once a cold youngster with a sword on his back, Jian Wushuang had now changed to a red-robed, red-haired fierce elder. It was based off what the information had suggested regarding Old Monster Hong Chen's appearance. With abilities at such a high level, it was too easy for Jian Wushuang to transform. Not only his appearance, but even Jian Wushuang's aura transformed into an evil, eerie one. The impression he gave others was undoubted of a devil. With how I look right now, if I call myself Old Monster Hong Chen, unless someone is extremely close with him, no one will doubt my disguise. Furthermore, this Old Monster Hong Chen had no friends. Who could identify me? Of course, I still need to make some preparations before I enter the Imperial City. Jian Wushuang snorted and made his way towards the Imperial City. Several days later, in a normal domain within the 3 Emperors' world, a remote mountain range could be spotted within a dense, eerie forest. Xiao, 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 xiao. 4 figures appeared in the void above the mountain range simultaneously. This is it, guys. A purple-robed woman looked downwards at the mountain range. Ling Shi, you're sure a mountain dwelling lies within this range? A sturdy man asked while frowning. I'm sure, the purple-robed woman replied. The mountain dwelling was discovered by accident 3 days ago. I did not notice it at first, but at that moment a boundless aura came from within the dwelling. The aura must have come from a treasure, which led me to the dwelling. I wanted to search for it on my own, but I was stopped by a battle puppet. That puppet was strong. Even though his methods were ordinary, I don't know what he did, but His strength and speed were at early-stage chaotic realm levels. I was not his opponent. That's why I found you all. A treasure's aura, with a strong puppet to guard it. Undoubtedly, the mountain dwelling had something. Let's approach it quietly. Ling Shi, you lead the way. The four went on their way. Soon they had entered the mountain dwelling and found the puppet, which the purple-robed woman had mentioned. The four of them had already reached pinnacle chaotic real God. Collaborating and using all their might, they finally surpassed the puppet and continued making their way towards the mountain dwelling. They did not know that a red-robed, red-haired elder was waiting for them. They have arrived. Jian Wushuang smiled and continued pretending to be in meditation. Before long, the four real gods reached the deepest part of the mountain dwelling. When they reached, they did not find any treasure. Instead, they found the red-haired elder. Before they could react, the red-haired elder opened his eyes. A terrifying aura was instantly let out from within the mountain dwelling. The gall of you all to barge into my place of seclusion. Die. The red-haired elder made his move. Crap. Make a run for it. The four real gods were flustered. It was then that they realized the mountain dwelling was no expert's remnant, but a chaotic realm expert's place of meditation and seclusion. They had offended the other party, and now he wanted them all dead. Hum, hum, hum. The red-haired elder made several moves and instantly killed 3 people. Only the purple-robed woman managed to escape. Of course, Jian Wushuang had intentionally let her go. After the purple-robed female had left, the word spread as expected. Old Monster Hongchun, a name last heard 1,000,000 years ago, had reappeared. This was what Jian Wushuang had wanted. He had intentionally lured the 4 people in and let the woman escape, all for Old Monster Hong Chen's name to be mentioned all over 3 emperors' world once again. But this was not enough. Soon after Old Monster Hong Chen's name started going around, Jian Wushuang arrived at a huge family. This family was the famous Dan clan within the 3 emperors' world. The Dan clan had many experts, with reported 7 chaotic realm experts, and 1 middle-stage chaotic realm elder. This Dan clan had also chased down Old Monster Hong Chen over 1,000,000 years ago, forcing him into seclusion. Looking at the huge family, Jian Wushuang laughed. A loud roar resonated through the heavens. You Dan rats, you chased me down 1,000,000 years ago, forcing me out. Today, I have come for my revenge. Everyone in Dan clan, die. Chapter 2135, shocking. The 3 emperors' world Dan clan was exterminated. Even though the chaotic realm experts had managed to rush back from the imperial city in time, it did not change the fact that they were exterminated. Over 90% of the experts from the Dan clan were killed. Only the lucky few escaped. The Dan clan disappeared within moments. The one who had caused this was the old monster Hong Chun, who had disappeared over 1,000,000 years ago. This news spread like wildfire across the entire 3 emperors' world. Many of the experts and clans were surprised and were all commenting on the incident. Old Monster Hong Chun is alive after all these years. Not only is he alive, he has become even stronger. He must have encountered great opportunities during the time he was gone and become a top-tier middle-stage chaotic realm. This old monster is still so fierce and heartless. The first thing he does when he comes to light is to exterminate a clan. He is not even affected after killing so many cultivators. He is called Old Monster Hong Chun for a reason. He was never a kind man. Back then, it was the Dan clan that caused him to almost die. Now that he has finally recovered some power, what is stopping him from taking revenge? Many of the experts in the 3 emperors' world were talking about this incident. No one doubted his true identity, no matter what their opinions on the matter were. There was nothing to be suspicious of. Everyone believed that the one who had exterminated the Dan clan was old monster Hong Chen, who had disappeared 1,000,000 years ago. However, within a city somewhere in the Three Emperors world, an elderly man in red clothes was in disbelief when he got news of this. Who? Who is impersonating me? This elderly man in red clothes was the real old monster Hong Chen. He had been hiding his true identity all this time as he was afraid of the Dan clan. Now, Dan clan had been exterminated. Most importantly, he was the one who had exterminated it. He was still an early-stage chaotic realm expert. How could he exterminate the Dan clan alone? Without a doubt, there was someone using his identity. Why did he impersonate me? What is his goal? Old monster Hong Chen muttered to himself. He then shook his head and continued, "It does not matter. He helped me exterminate Dan clan and avenged me. I shall let him use my name to do whatever he wants." Old monster Hong Chen did not plan on exposing Jian Wushuang. Even though the Dan clan had been exterminated, he would never use the identity of old monster Hong Chen ever again. Old monster Hong Chen's name had become well known in the Three Emperors world after the Dan clan was exterminated. Jian Wushuang had achieved his goal. Now I can enter the imperial city confidently. Jian Wushuang smiled as he headed toward the entrance of Imperial City. At the gate of Imperial City, it was guarded tightly. The elder in gray clothes who had stopped Jian Wushuang from entering was still standing there. An extremely evil and gloomy aura could be felt from the space far away. This aura was flamboyant. Even though the person was still far away, the elderly man in gray clothes noticed it. What an evil aura! Who is that? The elderly man in gray clothes knitted his eyebrows. Soon, the owner of the aura appeared at the entrance and revealed his face. It was an elderly man with red hair and clothes. It has been so long since I was last here. The Imperial City feels different. Jian Wushuang muttered to himself casually, "May I know who you are?" The elderly man in gray clothes asked Jian Wushuang. "I am Ancestor Hong Chen." Jian Wushuang replied, "Ancestor Hong Chen?" The elderly man in gray clothes turned pale. The actions of this devil were widespread across the Three Emperors world. According to some, this devilish man had been meditating in a secluded cave until some real gods chanced upon his cave and woke him up. He had then immediately exterminated the Dan clan, which caused quite a commotion. Now, he was here at the Imperial Palace. "Oh, so why are you here at the Imperial Palace?" The elder man in gray clothes asked. I have reached the peak of middle stage chaotic realm. I am very close to peak chaotic realm. Why do you think I am here?" Jian Wushuang smirked. "You are here to use the resources within the Imperial Palace to break through to peak chaotic realm." The elder man in gray clothes understood his intentions and was not suspicious at all. "Hey, old fool, are you going to let me through?" Jian Wushuang said impatiently. The elder man in gray clothes knitted his eyebrows. Even though old monster Hong Chen was infamously known to be Adavil, he still had the right to enter the Imperial Palace as long as he was an almighty. You can enter. I have to remind you to control your temper and not break any rules inside the palace. Even though you can exterminate the Dan clan alone, there are still many experts within the palace who can kill you easily. The elder man in gray clothes said, "I do not need someone like you to remind me of these things. Scram and stop blocking my way," Jian Wushuang roared as he headed into the palace. The elder man in gray clothes knitted his eyebrows lightly, but did not stop him. "It took some effort, but I finally made it in." Jian Wushuang smiled as he looked around within the Imperial Palace. Since he had made it into the Imperial Palace, what followed would be much more simple. This is Emperor's Summit. The protecting formation is gone. Jian Wushuang's eyes lit up when he saw the magnificent summit in the distance. The imperial cabinet was located at the top of that summit. He remembered he had only managed to successfully enter the Emperor's Summit after winning the qualification battle. Now, the Emperor's Summit was completely open to the public. Beside the Emperor's Summit, there were 3 large statues which stood tall and proud. There had originally been a golden vortex in the middle of the 3 statues. Now that the Supreme Emperor Stone was destroyed, the vortex had disappeared too. Many people were meditating in front of the 3 statues. Within a bar inside the imperial palace, Jian Wushuang sat there drinking wine. He was also listening in to the people around talking about the changes to the imperial palace. According to what the waiter was saying, the changes to Imperial City had happened about 10 years ago. Someone had ventured into the Emperor's Summit and destroyed the sacred stone, Supreme Emperor Stone. The people in the 3 Emperors' world called the man who had destroyed the Supreme Emperor Stone the devil. Chapter 2136 baited devil. Jian Wushuang touched his nose as he looked at the people talking weirdly. He knew that he was devil the experts from the 3 Emperors' world were talking about. Ever since he had destroyed the Supreme Emperor Stone, the security within the imperial palace had been much tighter and the rules much more stringent. Furthermore, there were more experts on standby within the imperial palace to prepare for the upcoming battle. This meant that there would be far more experts within the palace compared to before. If there are more experts in the palace, this means that we can kill more when we ambush them. The 3 Emperors' world will face a greater loss. Jian Wushuang thought coldly. Everyone get ready. We are about to execute our plan. Jian Wushuang messaged the other 7 great emperors. Finally, I can't wait anymore. The 7 great emperors inside the Blood Mountain Sword were all excited. They had anticipated this since they knew what the mission was about. Now, they were finally going to start the mission for real. Throughout the journey, Jian Wushuang had also communicated with Emperor Bai and asked him about his preparations. Ever since the Supreme Emperor Stone had been destroyed and the formation surrounding the Dark Millstone had collapsed, the space-time was no longer restricted, and Jian Wushuang could transmit messages with the outside world easily. After receiving Jian Wushuang's message, Emperor Bai gathered the experts from Sanctuary Alliance and Special Tribes Alliance. Everything was prepared quickly, and everyone was ready to go. After taking a deep breath, Jian Wushuang moved. He flew towards the 3 statues. Since they were going to ambush, they should ambush a place where there would be a large number of people. At the foot of the 3 Emperors' world, that was where the highest number of experts gathered. Thousands of experts in the realm of chaotic realm who were sat in front of the statues were meditating. They were densely packed in that small space. Sword Emperor, even though there are many almighties here, there are no great emperors. It would be better if we attracted a few great emperors here. Abysmal Saint Master said, "Yes, I understand." Jian Wushuang nodded his head while he looked at the imperial cabinet. There were 3 great emperors around the golden vortex, guarding the Supreme Emperor Stone when it was still here. After the stone was destroyed, there was no need for a great emperor to be on guard anymore. Hence, most of the great emperors within the 3 Emperors' world stay within the Emperor Cabinet. It would not be a wise choice if they decided to ambush the Emperor Cabinet directly, as there were many great emperors residing within it. The best way was to attract the attention of a few great emperors and fight them beside the 3 large statues. Just then, 2 figures were flying towards the space Jian Wushuang was in. One was a handsome prince, the other was a teenage girl in green clothes. Coincidentally, Jian Wushuang had met them before. Ling Tianhao? Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows. Ling Tianhao and him had had a grudge when had first come to the imperial palace. Back then, Jian Wushuang had masked his identity by pretending to be a rude, overpowering man-show. Now he was here for the second time. They met again. Ha, what a coincidence. Jian Wushuang laughed. He thought for a moment. I have an idea. Jian Wushuang fixed his gaze on Ling Tianhao as he flew towards him. Ling Tianhao and the teenage girl in green clothes planned to meditate in front of the 3 statues. A figure which radiated gloom and death appeared in front of them. What a powerful aura! Ling Tianhao was shocked. The person radiating this aura is at least a person in middle-stage chaotic realm. The teenage girl in green clothes panicked. The 2 people quickly calmed down and greeted the man humbly. Is there a problem, sir? Humph. Are you Ling Tianhao? Jian Wushuang asked coldly. Yes, I am. Ling Tianhao replied, curious as to why the unknown man had asked him this. If that is the case, Dai, your family and the Dan family tried to kill me. This is revenge. Jian Wushuang attacked. Oh no! Ling Tianhao and the teenage girl in green clothes were caught by surprise. The experts meditating in front of the statues were alarmed as they looked over in surprise. They were surprised by his courage, not his power. He had dared to attack within the imperial palace right in front of the 3 statues. He was neglecting the imperial cabinet and the rules within the palace. The moment Jian Wushuang attacked, boom, 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 many powerful auras erupted as 6 figures appeared. They were the 6 deacons in the middle stage chaotic realm. Stop! You have courage, attacking so flagrantly within the imperial palace. You better stop, or you will die. Roars of anger were heard. Hearing these roars, Jian Wushuang bellowed with laughter. Ha! The few of you can't stop me, Ancestor Hong Chun. Jian Wushuang's blood-red hand grew in size as a terrifying aura radiated in all directions. The hand managed to force the 6 deacons back. His aura was overbearing. Many people in the crowd were stunned. It's him, Ancestor Hong Chun. The man who single-handedly exterminated the Dan clan is here at the imperial palace. No wonder he dared to attack others within the imperial palace. He is notorious for his lawlessness. Many of the experts exclaimed. Ha! Jian Wushuang continued to chase after Ling Tianhao ferociously. Oh no! The 6 deacons turned pale. They were responsible for maintaining order around the 3 statues. If Ancestor Hong Chun killed Ling Tianhao, they would be severely punished. Right then, humph! A majestic grunt was heard. Hearing this, Jian Wushuang was elated. They took the bait. Chapter 2137, Judgemen. You have courage to attack in the middle of the imperial palace. A deep voice reverberated through the entire space, and an overbearing aura was felt. The crowd fell quiet. A red-haired elder, who had his hands behind his back, appeared in the space above the statues. The aura came from him. Everyone around looked at this elder man with red hair. It is a titan. A titan in the realm of peak chaotic realm appeared. I recognize this man. He is Lord Feng Wu. Many cultivators look at him in respect and adoration. Titans in the peak chaotic realm were the equivalent to the great emperor realm in the eternal chaotic world. It was rare to see them in 3 emperors' world, and every single one of them was well respected by everyone. This red-haired elder Feng Wu was one of them. Lord, Lord. The 6 deacons greeted the elder man. One of them stepped out and said, Lord, the 6 of us are in charge of maintaining peace and order here in front of the 3 statues. When Ancestor Hong Chun tried to kill someone, we tried to stop him immediately, but He overpowered us. If you had not appeared, he would have killed the man successfully. Oh. Feng Wu knitted his eyebrows. Lord Feng Wu, I am from the Ling clan, from the prefecture Tong. My family has no grudge with ancestor Hong Chen. I also have never done anything to piss him off, and have no idea why he attacked me today. I hope you, my lord, can help me. Nonsense. Once Ling Tianhao had finished speaking, Jian Wushuang roared, If I had no reason, why would I bully a youngster like him? Back then the Ling clan and the Dan clan allied with each other, and almost killed me, since I met a disciple from the Ling clan. Of course I wanted to kill you to vent my anger. Humph! Feng Wu looked at Jian Wushuang coldly, and said, Even if you had great resentment against the Lin clan, you should settle it outside the imperial palace. Since you are in the palace now, you need to obey the rules. Your name is Hong Chen, right? You attacked others and almost killed someone within the palace. You have infringed the rules set in place in the imperial palace, and you shall be punished. I sentence you to 100,000 years within the emperor jail. Feng Wu said coldly as he declared Jian Wushuang's sentence. Everyone was shocked. The emperor jail was a place which all the high-profile prisoners were sent to. There were many ways inside to torture their victims. Even experts in the chaotic realm would turn pale once they heard of the emperor jail. Usually, a chaotic realm expert would start breaking down after 1,000 years. 100,000 years? Even an expert in the middle stage chaotic realm would not have been able to take it. No one dared to stand up for Jian Wushuang. They felt that Jian Wushuang should receive punishment when he broke the rules. Feng Wu was one of the few titans in the emperor cabinet. He had the right to sentence people to jail. They felt that Jian Wushuang should take the punishment willingly. In reality, me going to the emperor jail for 100,000 years. Dream on. I like my unrestrained lifestyle, and I don't care about the rules within the imperial palace. Since I am not welcomed here, I shall leave. Jian Wushuang laughed and turned around as though he was about to leave. How dare you? Feng Wu roared in anger. The imperial palace has its own rules. If you are obedient and enter the jail for 100,000 years, you can still be free. If you do not obey my orders, you shall die. I will die. What a joke. Jian Wushuang was not afraid as he tried to leave. Die. Feng Wu stopped wasting time with Jian Wushuang as killing intent surged. His aura erupted and covered everyone around. He moved. He was like an emperor as he attacked Jian Wushuang. He was very quick and appeared in front of Jian Wushuang almost instantaneously. Die! Feng Wu yelled as he chopped with his blood-red sword. Clouds of blood filled the entire space as the imperial palace turned red. A terrifying aura radiated outwards as the experts turned pale. This is the power of an expert in peak chaotic realm. Only those in the peak chaotic realm could be called titans. The difference in each stage within the chaotic realm is too large. Ancestor Hong Chen could have survived if he had listened to Lord Feng Wu and gone to the emperor jail and stayed there for 100,000 years. Looks like he will die here today. Lord Feng Wu is attacking him personally. Ancestor Hong Chen is dead meat. Humph! He asked for it himself. Who can he blame? The experts around looked at him sympathetically. They all felt that Jian Wushuang was definitely dead. It was normal for them to think so. There was no doubt that a peak chaotic realm could kill a middle-stage chaotic realm easily, especially within the imperial palace. Even if Feng Wu could not kill him, there were other titans within the palace that could. The blood-red strike appeared in front of Jian Wushuang. It contained the power of space-time and locked onto Jian Wushuang. He could not have escaped even if had wanted to. Jian Wushuang stood there and smiled playfully. He did not attempt to dodge, which made the rest think that he was either too shocked to move or he knew he couldn't dodge it. In reality, he was not worried at all. Jian Wushuang saw the red-haired elder Feng Wu before. Back then, he had been one of the guardians of the Supreme Emperor's Stone, and they'd even fought. It was a pity Jian Wushuang had lost easily, as there were 3 of them there. Feng Wu was at the power level of an ordinary stage, one great emperor. Jian Wushuang was not worried about attacks coming from him. Eventually, the blood-red slash hit Jian Wushuang in the chest as it tried to slash him into half. In the end, clang! This sound made it seem like the slash had clashed onto an indestructible rock, not a human being. After the collision, only a spark was seen. Jian Wushuang was unharmed. Chapter 2138, No Choice Left. What? The confident, red-haired elder Feng Wu was in shock. The experts around had their mouths open wide in disbelief. Feng Wu was a titan in the peak chaotic realm. His attack had collided with the target, and yet he was unharmed. Even if the person had body armor, the force the slash contained would either get him severely wounded or cause the victim to fly back. However, Ancestor Hong Chun just stood there calmly, not moving. He was not affected by the attack from Feng Wu. Feng Wu looked at Jian Wushuang, dumbfounded. What? You think this is amazing? Jian Wushuang smiled playfully. When Feng Wu saw that expression, a dawn of realization hit him. No, that's not right. Even another expert in peak chaotic realm would be forced back when hit by my attack. No one within the 3 Emperors world has this terrifying self-defense mechanism. I have only seen one person in my entire life reach that stage. Feng Wu widened his eyes as he stared at Jian Wushuang and roared, "You are definitely not Ancestor Hong Chen, and you are definitely not in middle stage chaotic realm." Huh. Jian Wushuang smiled sheepishly and revealed his true form. At that instant, an aura even more terrifying than Feng was erupted and swept out in all directions. This aura made every expert tremble to their core. At the same time, Jian Wushuang's appearance changed. It was originally a stubborn elder man in red clothes. Now, he looked completely different. He looked younger, firmer, and colder. Once the face had appeared, Feng Wu felt his head was about to explode. "It is you. Of course it is you." Jian Wushuang. A loud howl reverberated in the sky. This terrible howl pierced through the air and shocked everyone. Not just Feng Wu, who was dumbfounded, but Ling Tianhao, who was standing not too far away, was also shocked. A fear like never before manifested in his heart. "Devil! It's the devil! The devil is back!" Ling Tianhao screamed crazily. "Devil!" The surrounding experts were stunned, and then the uproar began. Only one person had been called the devil in all of 3 Emperors' world history. That person was the man that had stood up to 13 titans in the chaotic realm, destroyed the Supreme Emperor's Stone, and left alive. In everyone's mind, this person was the strongest, most undefeatable, and unkillable devil. And this devil was now here? Ha! Looks like my name is well known in the 3 Emperors' world. Jian Wushuang saw the facial expressions of the experts around and smiled. Feng Wu, who stood in front of Jian Wushuang, was fearful for his own life and retreated quickly. He wanted to escape, as he knew for a fact that there was no way he could beat Jian Wushuang. It was a pity that Jian Wushuang had other plans for him. "Don't be so anxious to leave." Jian Wushuang smiled lightly as he waved his hands. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. 7 figures appeared in the space around Jian Wushuang. When the 7 figures appeared, 7 overbearing auras of peak chaotic realm swept out. Any one of these 7 auras made Feng Wu fear for his own life. Oh no! Feng Wu turned pale and ran without hesitation. The 7 experts who came out from the Blood Mountain Sword attacked. All 7 of these great emperors targeted Feng Wu. Most importantly, every single expert was much stronger than Feng Wu. Feng Wu stood no chance against the 7 men. Boom! After a loud bang, his corpse fell to the ground. There was a hole in his head and chest area. His life dissipated instantly without a trace. I thought that great emperors were very powerful and it would take a great amount of effort to kill one. Looks like it is easy to kill one if the person is powerful enough or many great emperors ally together. Jian Wushuang smiled as he looked at the crowd. Everyone, let us start the massacre. Once Jian Wushuang finished his sentence, the 7 great emperors moved. Boom! Overbearing aura mixed with a heavy killing intent erupted. The 7 great emperors split up and they attacked. There were a great number of experts around the 3 statues. Initially, there were around 1,000 chaotic realm experts meditating there. Following the commotion, many experts were drawn over, and there were over 1,500 experts now. They were simply in the early stage chaotic realm and the middle stage chaotic realm. No matter how many of them there was nothing they could do unless they formed up in a battle formation. Against the 7 great emperors, they had no chance. No. Run. Escape. The devil brought some titans from the peak chaotic realm. Run. Miserable shouts and cries could be heard everywhere. The experts in the chaotic realm had no courage to try and withstand the attacks. They simply ran. However, their speeds were no match for great emperors such as the Abysmal Saint Master. The 7 great emperors slaughtered a great number of experts from the chaotic realm. Around the 3 statues was an area for meditation. Within seconds, it had turned into a Jura hell. In the middle of the battlefield, Jian Wushuang stood there calmly. Ling Tianhao and the teenage girl in green clothes stood in front of him. These 2 stared at Jian Wushuang, terrified. Devil! Devil! Ling Tianhao roared as fear rose from the bottom of his heart. Jian Wushuang looked at Ling Tianhao coldly as he slashed his sword. 2 sword lights shot out instantly. Ling Tianhao and the teenage girl were killed by the 2 sword lights. They could not even put up a fight. Do not blame me for being merciless. I have no choice. Jian Wushuang muttered. Chapter 21, 39-16 Great Emperors in the middle of the battlefield. Jian Wushuang stood coldly as he surveyed the battlefield. He was emotionless even when he saw Abysmal Saint Master, Jian Yi, and the other great emperors kill a large number of experts from the 3 emperor world. Many of these people were innocent cultivators. They might not have even known of the existence of the eternal chaotic world. They were born in the 3 emperors' world. They cultivated there to become stronger. However, the leaders of the 3 emperors' world had already decided to declare war on the eternal chaotic world. Only one side would emerge victorious after the battle. If the 3 emperors' world lost the war, they would be exterminated. That was the same case for the eternal chaotic world. If it lost, all life would be lost. Just like Jian Wushuang had said, he had no choice. He had to cause the greatest damage to the 3 emperor worlds lineup to achieve victory in the upcoming war. He had to find a way to do it, and scrupulously. Even if it cost him everything he had, not just him, but every single of the 7 great emperors had the same mentality. Jian Wushuang had control over Jian Yi's brain. For the remaining emperors, Abysmal Saint Master, Underworld God, Emperor God Tianling, King Chunxing, Black Dragon Emperor, and Sir Lei Yuan. They were all well-respected and powerful people, but they would never give it their all to kill so many experts in the eternal chaotic realm. This time, however, they had made up their minds. They had no choice. Everything I am going to do is for the eternal chaotic world. Jian Wushuang clenched his fist as he made up his mind. He looked up and looked at the distant space. There, figures with powerful auras were rushing towards him. They were the great emperors residing within the imperial cabinet. There were at least 10 of them. Jian Wushuang's eyes lit up. Continue to kill them. I will handle those great emperors. Jian Wushuang yelled and flew towards the 10 great emperors. Many great emperors were rushing towards the 3 statues some distance away from the 3 statues. There were a total of 16 great emperors. This was about half the total fighting power of the 3 emperors' world. They saw the massacre of the large number of chaotic realm experts and turned pale. The distance between the imperial cabinet and the 3 statues was not very great. They rushed over immediately after they noticed the battle. However, they still need some time to travel over even if they were great emperors. This time they took was sufficient for the abysmal Saint Master and the remaining 6 great emperors to start the massacre. They could sense that at least 300 experts in the chaotic realm were dead, and the slaughter was still ongoing. Bastard! One of the great emperors cursed. Jian Wushuang. It is this Jian Wushuang again. The bald man, who looked like a wild beast, said. He was the leader of the 16 great emperors. This bald man was Ling Zong. There were 2 people flying alongside him. They were 2 stage 2 great emperors. One of them was in a golden cloak, while the other was a white-haired elder woman. As for the remaining 13, they were all stage 1 great emperors. The previous time, the 3 emperors' world knew of his whereabouts and was well prepared for his arrival. We even set a trap for him. Not only did he destroy the Supreme Emperor's stone, he also escaped back into the eternal chaotic world. This time, the 3 emperors' world took precautions, and their security was tighter than ever before, yet they still managed to sneak in. Ling Zong roared. What can we do? The Imperial Palace is a place for experts from the 3 emperors' world to come to and gain more resources to become even stronger. Unless we completely seal it off from the rest of the world, someone will eventually sneak past our defenses. One of the well-built middle-aged men, standing beside Ling Zong, said. This time, Jian Wushuang disguised himself as Ancestor Hongchen, who had disappeared for 1,000,000 years. He disguised himself so well that the intel department of the Imperial Palace had no suspicion as to whether he was real. That's why we allowed him to enter the Imperial Palace to begin with. After hearing this, the great emperors around shook their heads helplessly. They had indeed put out preventive measures to stop Jian Wushuang and the experts from the eternal chaotic world from entering. In the end, it had been useless. If the sacred stone was not destroyed and is still here, many of the secret restrictions within the 3 emperors' world can be used, and Jian Wushuang would not be able to be unrestrained. Ling Zong said, It is no use discussing all this. Let's go and stop the experts from the eternal chaotic world now. The white-haired elderly woman said. When they were communicating, boom, a figure which radiated gloom flew towards them. His body was covered in dark jade light, and he was over 10 feet tall. There were 9 heads and 18 arms on his giant body. Each of the 18 arms held a sword. Endless waves of sword essence radiated from him. It was as though he was an undefeatable god. Every one of the 16 great emperors was enraged when they saw this figure. Jian Wushuang. Zong Ling screeched. Jian Wushuang continued to make his way towards the 16 of them without any delay. Within moments, he appeared in front of the 16 great emperors as his overpowering aura enveloped all of them. The aura was so strong that every great emperor trembled slightly when they felt it. Kill him! Zhongling roared as the 16 great emperors attacked simultaneously. Zhongling was the strongest of them. He was the first to take a step and raised his axe high up in the air. Boom! A black axe expanded in size quietly. However, the aura was terrifying. It crashed down towards Jian Wushuang. The well-built middle-aged man waved his hand, a hand which looked like it was made of jade. The hand too grew in size as it turned into a mountain made entirely out of jade crystals and crashed towards Jian Wushuang. This mountain felt like it could suppress everything in this world. Lastly, the white-haired elder woman held a dark golden stick. She swung that stick at Jian Wushuang as numerous shadows of the dark golden stick were seen. These shadows fused together quickly as it attacked Jian Wushuang. Chapter 2140, Unstoppable Part 1. 3-Stage 2 Great Emperors attacked together. Additionally, 13 other Stage 1 Great Emperors attacked with their most powerful skills. There were many different types of attack, and each attack could easily kill an Emperor God. At that moment, the 16 attacks flew towards the space Jian Wushuang was standing in. Boom! A loud boom. The heaven and earth shook. Living things in the vicinity trembled in fear. The space that Jian Wushuang was standing in was covered in a terrifying storm of divine power. This storm was humongous, and it seemed that no great emperor could survive the strangling power of the storm. Is he dead? One of the 16 great emperors who stood in front asked as he stared at the storm. Dead. Ling Zong shook his head as he looked ahead grimly. He clearly knew how scary Jian Wushuang was. He had fought 13 great emperors fearlessly over 10 years ago. He had had no injuries no matter how many hits he suffered. How could he die so easily with his unmatched self-defense mechanism? Sure enough, a sword light lit up the entire storm of divine power. The terrifying aura of the sword light chopped the storm into half. From the middle of the storm, the same 10-foot-tall figure appeared again. He was still equally powerful and unrestrained. This time, Jian Wushuang dashed towards the 16 great emperors. Watch out! The devil is here! Ling Zong screamed as his divine power boiled. Every great emperor stood prepared and looked serious. Whoosh! Jian Wushuang was very fast. He appeared in front of the 16 great emperors and swung his blood mountain sword. A powerful sword essence burst forth. Sword Principle Xian Luo. Blast rainstorm, it had the speed of a gale and contained the power of a thunderstorm. Jian Wushuang slashed out mercilessly towards 6 great emperors. The 6 great emperors turned pale when they saw the sword light. Let us work together and deflect this attack. Yes, the 6 great emperors made the decision and made their own moves. A terrifying boom exploded as the sword light demolished the attacks the 6 great emperors had cast, and the aftershocks swept out. Out of the 6 great emperors, 3 of them grunted as blood seeped out of the corner of their mouths. The remaining 3 flew back like cannonballs. 6 great emperors tried to deflect the attack from Jian Wushuang. The results, the 6 great emperors had lost. A surging aura came from behind Jian Wushuang. It was a battle axe so large that it filled the sky. It took the chance Jian Wushuang was making his sword skill and ambushed him. The axe was aiming for the head in an attempt to behead him. Jian Wushuang did not even bother looking at the axe, as he swung his sword casually. Even though it was a casual swing, the power it contained was still terrifying. One who had great strength could overpower 10 others. Clang! The sound of collision could be heard clearly as the shadow of the axe dissipated. The master of the axe backed off quickly as he looked at Jian Wushuang savagely. He spat out a mouth of blood in the process. The blood covered his body armor as his aura weakened. Jian Wushuang has become much stronger than before. The last time I fought him, I was only at a slight disadvantage when he attacked me with full force. Now, his casual attacks can deflect my most powerful attack and injure me severely. Stage 3. His fighting power must have reached Stage 3. Ling Zong widened his eyes as he stared at Jian Wushuang. He was shocked. Stage 3 Great Emperor. They were the true leaders among the experts in the chaotic realm. Over the course of history, only 3 people had managed to reach it within the 3 emperors' world. These 3 had become the leaders of this world. Now, the fighting power Jian Wushuang was displaying made Ling Zong think that he could be compared to Demon King Qinyu. At the same time that Ling Zong was marveling at Jian Wushuang's fighting power. Kill him! Angry roars filled the entire battlefield as the various great emperors continued their attacks. The attacks were directed at Jian Wushuang as they approached from every angle possible. The numerous great emperors started their besiege on Jian Wushuang. Against these attacks, a unique sword essence could be felt radiating from Jian Wushuang. At that moment, it was as though his large body had turned into a dark vortex that could swallow everything as Jian Wushuang slashed his sword in a weird way. Sword Principal Xian Luo. Mixed Elements Spirit. Clang, 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 bang, boom. Waves of noise reverberated through the air as the attacks were all blocked by Jian Wushuang. The terrifying power of the Sword Principal forced many great emperors back. At that moment, a flash of killing intent could be seen in his eyes as Jian Wushuang attacked. He crossed the distance between him and the closest great emperor and appeared beside him. That was a mere Stage 1 great emperor. Hua! The sword light descended out of nowhere. This sword light was the fastest style in the Sword Principal Xian Luo. Turn monstrous at one thought. Watch out! One of the other great emperors beside him said, as a warning. What? The lady in red cloak had a terrified expression on her face as she stared at the sword light approaching her. It is too fast. This slash is too fast. I can't do anything. Desperation was written all over her face as the sword light collided with her body. Even though her body armor was extraordinary, it shattered under the sword light and allowed the slash to penetrate her body, killing her. This is only the first. Jian Wushuang looked at the rest coldly as he picked up the Qian Kuan ring and the remaining treasures. He then continued to attack the remaining 15 great emperors. Damn it! Bastard! Terror could be seen on the faces of the remaining 15 angry great emperors. They worked together as 16 great emperors with 3 Stage 2 great emperors when they initiated the attack on Jian Wushuang. The result? Jian Wushuang remained unharmed while one of their comrades died. What was this overbearing fighting power?